boogity. Go, boys. Michael Waltrip in the 15 car, he fought hard to get to the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see 2 or 3 grooves of racing, but everybody would like to see if their car worked on the bottom here with fresh tires.
Yeah, the first couple of laps, man, it is touch and go. The cars are just a little bit loose. The track's dirty. Takes a few laps. It's always trouble early on.
Robby Gordon up high, up out of the groove. Save and continue.
And that's what you run into, Mike. You just push up off the corner, hit the outside retaining wall off of 2 and 4. Trying to get down, that's the big thing. Trying to get down on that inside because not a lot of grip up high right now. There will be later, but there's not right now.
And Lynn Sadler in the 21, he kicks Michael Waltrip up to the high side. Jimmie Johnson would like to take advantage of this as well. This is a battle for 5th.
The guys in the back, they just got to be real cautious. All holding their breath, hoping everybody minds their manners here for a few laps. Be kind to each other, guys. Be kind to each other.
Starting to see some of our leaders, Darrell, already starting to diamond this racetrack. Driving low, let it ride up a little bit, a little easier on the tire, and then come off low.
Which is it's what works good here. Drive in hard. The car wants to slide up the hill. So rather than trying to jerk it back down to the bottom, get it loose, you'll just kind of what we call diamond a corner. High in the middle, in low, off low. Plus, you can get back in the throttle so much better when you've got that kind of straighter run up off of either corner.
Here comes Jimmie Johnson under Elliott Sadler. Made that one look easy and takes over 5th place.
He did, but he again, he got it up kind of high in the middle, and he shot right out the corner, right under the 21 car.
Looking back at 9th place, Mark Martin, Kenny Schrader. 2-groove racetrack all the way back.
Guys in the back, Larry, and they're not wasting a whole lot of time. They're doing just what Tony Stewart said. Get them while they're grouped up, bunched up like this, while everybody's racing each other. You can make a lot of passes. But it's also the most treacherous time of the race.
Brett Bodine, Bobby Hamilton. This is the battle for 21st. Brett Bodine with a new crew chief this weekend, Buddy Cisco.
And here comes Ricky Craven right after the man who dominated this race last year, Jeff Gordon.
But you know, Ricky Craven a year ago, he had a good race car on that last green flag stop. His crew did not give him the pit stop he needed. Lost a lot of ground.
Well, OTIDE had a great run last week at Charlotte. They told me this morning, they said, DW, pick him because he's going to be strong today.
Yesterday in the Busch race, Jeff Green set sail, lapped a whole lot of cars in the first green flag run. We may see the same situation here.
And you can do that. You know, the car that gets up front just seems to be able to just run so much faster when he's out in the front like that. He just pulls away, and, man, you can put a lot of cars laps down early when they're back here racing each other.
Kyle Petty, sprint dodge underneath Michael Waltrip. And Waltrip tries to close the door in turn 3, but leaves a big hole there on the bottom.
Kyle's last win here was in June of 1995. He felt like he could run good here. He's been running good all year long. For the first time, hot here this weekend, he's running a helmet air conditioner for the first time in his career.
And you know what? He'll never go back to the other way. He'll always have it from now on, I can tell you.
That's right. You buy one car with air conditioning, you'll never buy another one without it, right?
You're sitting there saying, I cannot believe what I was missing out on. Look at Mike. Michael will be right up against that wall. Look like a crop duster.
And Darrell, you would think, running that high up, that Kyle would be able to turn down under, but you keep the car free up there. You keep the momentum up.
Well, Kyle needs the whole racetrack. Right here, he needs to be able to slide up, and he did. So he got to slide up in front of Michael. That's what happens when a car's on the outside. You got to check up because you can't slide up in front of him.
But where he slid up in front of him, turn 2, the biggest give and take place on this racetrack.
Now let's update you on the drivers who started in the back and how they've progressed. Kurt Busch has only made it to 40th. The number 10 with Jerry Nadeau has only climbed to 39th, but Matt Kenseth has picked up 10 spots. He's up to 31st.
Yeah, he's really, he just went by the 12 car, Ryan Newman, and that car is really hooked up, guys. And he came here and tested, Larry, and they were really happy with their race car. I think that's why they didn't really care that they had to go to the back, or they wasn't that concerned about it.
Jimmie Johnson passed Jeff Gordon.
Clear off. Great job, man. Great job. Make sure you say something for the end of your long run.
So Jeff Gordon right now is in 4th place. To make that 5th place now, Steve Burns.
Yeah, Mike, he's just lost 2 positions. He's reporting to Robby Loomis, the crew chief, that he is loose on entry and tight on exit of the corner.
And Steve, Darrell, what's interesting about that comment, we talked to him yesterday or listened to him during practice, and one thing he had that he liked was his entrance.
Yes.
Well, they've worked on it now. They've heard his entrance of the corner.
Told you not to get. I didn't want to give that up.
Ricky Rudd has now led at Dover for the 17th time. He has led more than 900 miles on this speedway. 2 veterans, Rudd and Elliott, pace the field. Caution is out for the first time today at lap 17. Debris on the front straightaway. That's of great benefit to Chad Little, Dick Trickle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Hut Strickland, and John Andretti, all of whom were in somewhat danger of going a lap down. Prior to the caution, this pass for the lead.
Bill had caught Ricky in a hurry, and Ricky, I think, saw that and said, look, you know, there's no sense in us battling each other side by side this early in the race.
Yeah, Bill got up on that high line. And see, he's up high there. Ricky was still trying to run around the bottom. I think Ricky said, I'm going to follow Bill, see how come he's so much faster than I am.
Speaking of following, looks like our leader, Bill Elliott, the 9 car, is going to pit. Everybody's going to pit here on lap 18.
Pace car is a lonely guy coming down the front straightaway.
All the cars still on the lead lap. We may see some 2-tire stops here, though, just to try to get some track position with no more than 18 laps. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Larry, Bill Elliott reported in that he had a little bit of tightness with the number 9 Dodge, but he changed his line just slightly, and that really seemed to help. Mike Ford, the crew chief, told me they were not going to make any changes on the 9 car to Steve Burns.
Matt, the 28, Ricky Rudd is in. Jeff Gordon right behind him. Rudd is a little bit loose. He'll go down on the track bar 1 round. A wedge adjustment for Jeff Gordon. 4-tire stops for both cars. A little bit of a lengthy stop for Gordon. He's in traffic exiting pit road. Let's go to Dick.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. started this race in 30th spot. He dropped 10 positions because the car has been very loose. They're going to try to fix that by pulling a rubber and changing the track bar. Right now he is blocked into his pit. They're having to move Stacy Compton back. Finally, Earnhardt gets out. He'll be one of the last cars on the lead lap when they get the green flag. Mike?
Kenny Schrader got 2 tires. I'm sure there were some others.
The 43 car stayed out now. He was at way back in the pack anyway. Everybody dove on pit road. Stay out, lead those that 1 lap, get those 5 points.
It don't matter if you lead 1 lap under caution under green. It's 5 precious bonus points.
And John Andretti is going to lead this one. 19 laps complete. They've cleaned up the debris on the front straightaway. Ricky Craven trying to exit pit road, and Jerry Nadeau right here coming in. Damage to Craven's right front. Nadeau in the number 10 on the left rear.
Yeah, you can see serious damage to that right front corner over there. Really, that could really hinder that car. Could put a big push into it now. We always talk about aero and how important it is.
Biggest gainer, Matt Kenseth, started in the back. He's up to 23rd.
Boy, Craven got a great restart. He timed that just right. Looked like he got around a couple of cars there on that restart. The leader took off and nobody else went.
And he has taken off. Goes all the way to 2nd place right now.
Now with that damaged fender, Darrell, do you want to be behind somebody or do you want clean air?
Yeah, well, he'd be better off behind somebody, I think. But if you're going to hurt a fender on a Taurus, make it the right front, because that's the least. The left front on a Taurus is what's real critical. It is on all these cars, but the right front fender is least effective.
23 laps complete. Bill Elliott the leader after this first round of pit stops and a caution flag for debris. Matt is in Craven's pit.
Mike Beams, the crew chief. Mike, you had your spotter and Mark Martin look at the damage. How bad is it?
Well, Matt, looking from right here, it looks pretty bad. We was going to try to fix it there, but they gave 1 to go. We're just going to have to see what happened. Yeah, we don't have no tire smoke, and it might help us a little bit, but we're a little bit free in. As long as we don't make it too tight, we'll try to fix it next call.
Now, Jeff Gordon told me this morning when he walked through his pit and saw how small it was, measuring 28 by 15, he said that is going to be one of his biggest concerns today, is trying to not make contact with somebody on pit road because it's very, very tight down here.
Well, I mean, every time we race here, we see someone have a good race car. Last year, Johnny Benson in the 10 car, his day came to an end on pit road. Jeff, I mean, they're almost in a good pit to pit in, except maybe where Matt Kenseth is at the exit of pit road.
You're right about that there, Larry. But one of the things that you get into, and I talked to Jimmy Finnick about this, he was more concerned about his guy coming in, starting way in the back. And at that particular time, Ricky Rudd, who was our pole sitter, was right one pit behind him. He was very concerned about whenever he was coming in, Ricky coming out, and those two cars getting together, leaving and exiting the pits at the same time. Exactly what happened to the 32 car Ricky Craven. If you look and see, the 10 car was coming into the pits, and he was started way back in the back, and yet he was pitted at the very end of pit road, and they got together. And Jimmie said his main concern was making sure to keep Busch out of trouble on pit road.
Well, as we saw last week, Jeff, the way Matt Kenseth was really beating people, he was doing a lot of it by shooting into his pit right at the last second and then really tearing out, but he had room to do it there. They don't have room to do it today.
Kenseth was up to 23rd on the restart. He's given back 2 of those positions. Jerry Nadeau and Kurt Busch, who also started in the back. Nadeau's car not working too well right now, slid up the hill. He's back to 38th, while Kurt Busch is now moving forward. He's up to 33rd.
Here you see with Fox Tracks, we can see his interval to our leader right now, Bill Elliott. Almost 8 seconds behind there. You see he's fighting traffic, and while you're running side by side back in the pack here, you're going to continue to lose ground.
Well, let me tell you, when you are loose here, it's like loose. It's not like you're loose anywhere else. It's doubly loose here because there's just not a lot of grip on this racetrack.
Concrete loose.
Concrete loose.
How about our 6 car Mark Martin here? He just goes by Ricky Craven. That was a battle for 3rd. He's got a big Mo on his side. He comes in here with that win from Lowe's Motor Speedway last week. No substitute for it.
When you can look in the car and see him smiling from here, he is a happy driver.
That's big. Dick Berggren.
Well, crew chiefs not only have to adjust the race car, but they also work on the psychology of their driver. And just before the drop of the green flag, Mark Martin's crew chief, Ben Leslie, came on the radio and told his entire team that they have a car good enough to win, a driver good enough to win. Let's make it 2 in a row.
Jerry Nadeau having trouble. He climbed the hill a couple of times, and now he's brought that battling Pontiac.
I don't know what happened there. Just all of a sudden.
Nadeau had maybe the fastest car here most of the weekend.
A long way down that pit road, 35 miles an hour.
And following up a little bit more on Mark, he's got a bunch of guys on his team that never won before, and they finally got a taste of victory last week. Buddy, let me tell you, the gusto of a hungry hound's what they got.
Rusty Wallace, Jeff Burton, Kenny Schrader is sliding back after taking on 2 tires on that pit stop. Jeff Burton just got a big run on Rusty.
That's what happens, though. You get a run on a guy. What you hope is that he doesn't pedal in front of you and you run into the back of him. Because if a guy in front of you starts up off the corner, he has to get up out of the gas a little bit. Here you come, bam, right in the back end.
In 1993 and 94 here, Rusty Wallace won 3 of the 4 Winston Cup races.
This is a battle for 9th between Rusty Wallace in the 2, Ward Burton in the 22, and then Jeff Burton in the mix as well as the 99 car.
When I talk about when you're coming up off the corner, when I say pedal, you're working the gas pedal is what you're doing. You're in it, you're out of it, you're in it, and you're out of it. Well, you'd like to be as wide open. That's when you make the most time. But sometimes you got to ease in and out of it like you pedal a bicycle.
Ricky Rudd has caught Bill Elliott looking low for the lead.
Gets a good run off turn 2. It looks like he's got a lot more horsepower, but he was able to get in the throttle and stay in the throttle. Coming off the corner, look, goes down that straightaway much better.
Well, they're working together. Remember in the first segment there before the caution, Rudd pulled over and let Bill go by. Now, Bill pulls over and lets Rudd go by. Ricky Rudd has now led more than 950 miles in his career. Clutches of Mark Martin for second place.
He's been coming in a hurry. He's been faster than even leader Ricky Rudd. And look at that 48 car, the Lowe's car right behind him. Now Jerry Nadeau in the 10 right behind Jimmie Johnson. He's 2 laps down, but his car is running pretty good right here. He's been running right with this pack ever since he come off pit road.
Nadeau pitted just as we went to commercial. Steve Burns knows why.
Well, Mike, they thought they had a flat tire on the 10 car of Jerry Nadeau. They came in and changed 2 tires, but the crew looked at the tires, took measurements. They cannot find a flat. I will say this is a condition that some of the drivers in yesterday's race complained of, thinking they were having a flat tire, but not.
Turn 3. Hard in the wall, Nemechek. Around goes Todd Bodine. Looks like everyone else will make it through.
And Jerry Nadeau in the 10 car, he's trying to get one of his laps back. So I believe he'll accomplish it here on the front stretch. Yeah, he'll get one of them back.
Good job, Nadeau. He was right there where he could do that.
Earlier, Bodine had a side-to-side rubbing match with Mayfield.
Yeah, I don't know.
Down the backstretch, and yesterday he and Jimmy Spencer got together in the Busch race.
Yeah, we just saw an incident here with the 19 car.
Riding with Bodine.
I think this is the wreck here. Yeah, he just drove in there and shoved up into the 25.
His former teammate, Nemechek.
Exactly. Oh boy, he just, you know, Joe was going down out on the outside there, and it'd have been good if Todd had kind of given him a line. Looked like Todd was up out of the groove just a little bit.
Todd's brother Brett just snuck past there, and a little bit of fire there on Nemechek's car.
That's right in the fuel cell area right there. I'm sure he's knocked the filler neck off.
Because this all going on pit road, they pretty much have pit road closed right now.
This is the first of a 6-race deal for Travis Carter Racing with Discover Card.
We're going to take a look, but I think we don't.
Maybe a short day, and Nemechek, it appears that his day is done.
And what he's doing, he's dragging a lot of sheet metal and stuff here on the back of the car, obviously from where it's been in the fence, and that's going to ignite a little fire right there.
You can see that filler neck just under the yellow of the deck lid.
That's where they put the fuel in.
But fire crews quickly on the scene to put it out. And here's what Dale Earnhardt Jr. saw.
Gosh, 26 car just really moved up.
Come on down. Come all the way down, all the way down. Hell of a job.
That was Dale Jr. spotter, Todd Norris.
Well, Bodine earlier had moved up into Mayfield, and yesterday moved up into Spencer in much the same spot, which took Spencer out of the Busch race.
Same place.
Nemechek started the season in this number 26 car, but when they lost funding, moved over to the Rick Hendrick number 25, and Travis Carter closed down Todd Bodine's 66 team and moved him into this car.
Very persuasive.
MBNA Platinum 400.
And here you see your Fox tracks. This will let you track your driver. Ricky Rudd, Mark, Bill Elliott. Pit road is open. Based on our pitting while ago, I'd say everybody will be on pit road pretty much again for 4 tires and adjustments.
Here they come. And they are not boogieing, by the way.
No, that's a
that's a crawl. That might be the watermelon crawl.
Dick Berggren.
Martin is in. Mark started in 13th spot. He pissed while running in 2nd position. They're going to put a round and a half in the right rear. Will Smith just got that job done. The big problem with Martin, his helmet blower has quit. He's got nothing but hot air blowing into his helmet. That could be a big problem as the day wears on. To Matt.
Dick, Todd Colburn, the Jackman slip coming around the front of the car. Elliott is now down and away. They made an air pressure adjustment, 16.16 seconds, and around a wedge to Steve.
Matt, air pressure adjustments on the 28 and the 24. Both drivers reporting that their cars had improved in handling since the last stop.
Guys, the crew that shined on that last stop at Lowe's Motor Speedway last weekend, they shined on this one. Mark Martin and that 6th group, Ben Leslie, they're off pit road first. They win the battle off pit road.
Well, pit road is just a mess today, though, guys. I mean, there are people all up and down pit road here running into each other.
That's what happens when you have about 41 cars still on the lead lap, though, and they're all pitting at once.
Watch Bill Elliott's Jackman coming around, slip and slide. He doesn't get any traction on this concrete either. We'll be right back. For the race in a crash with his former teammate, Steve Burns.
Yeah, and he's not happy about it, Mike. Joe, tell us what happened on the racetrack.
Well, yeah, I got to bite my tongue here a little bit, but Todd Bodine's a good friend of mine, but he wrecked me on the back straightaway, uncalled for. I mean, I'd been on the outside of him. He knew I was there, and all of a sudden I was turning sideways on the straightaway, and when I got to the corner, I got turned again. And I don't know if he can't see there or what, but you know, I'm frustrated. Tore up the UAW Delphi Chevrolet was good. We took 2 tires. Maybe wasn't the thing to do. But the car was good. You know, we just need another stop, and you just don't wreck people like that.
So Nemechek is the first car out of today's race. Biggest gainer on pit stops, Jeff Green, came in 20th, came out 5th. As we restart with Mark Martin leading, Ricky Rudd and Jimmie Johnson.
Have Jerry Nadeau in that 10 car. Remember, he got one of his laps back after having to pit under green. He's up there trying to get another lap back.
Tony Stewart up to 8th. As looks like Jeff Green on the outside is paying the price for a 2-tire change.
Yeah, he's going backwards in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about this place, you're in the corner so much, and the car bites so hard on this concrete that you almost abuse the left side tires as much as you do the right side.
Yeah, and of course it's so tempting to take 2 and get way up there in the front, but it sure is ugly when you start going to the back.
You gain all those positions, Darrell, but it's only temporary.
Man, I want to be a comer, not a goer.
Ricky Rudd looking inside of Nadeau. Now Jerry Nadeau is 1 lap down, so Rudd the second place car trying to get within sight of Mark Martin out of turn 4.
And Nadeau's doing a really smart thing. He's moving up, letting those guys go, but he also knows that if there was a caution and he can stay close to the front, they're going to let him get another lap back.
I mean, Ricky Rudd, the 28, is the car that let him have that lap back a while ago, but boy, they're stacking up over there coming off turn 2.
Yeah, that's the thing about a lap car being in the way or up there like that. You get annoyed after a while.
You see Todd Bodine in the 26 car there. Now he's a lap down, and Steve Grissom in the 44 car, he's up there as well. He was penalized for pitting out of his box, so he's a lap down.
Nadeau gives way to Rudd. And now Jimmie Johnson looks to the inside. Let's go to Johnson's pit. Here's Matt.
Mike, back on lap 35, Jimmie Johnson was saying his car was a little bit free. How is your race car now, Chad?
Right now, right before that last stop, Jimmy said the car was really balanced. We were catching the leaders by about a 10th a lap right there. Busch Chevrolet, once again, is running really good. The guys are doing a good job in the pits. This is a long, fast-paced race, so we're just going to try to hold our own until the end and see what happens.
They made a 4-tire change and no adjustments because he felt like the car, although it was loosened early in the run, was starting to come to him. To Dick Berggren.
Elliott Sadler is driving one of the best cars the team has in the stable. This is the same car that finished second at Darlington. But they had trouble with their pit stop. They came in 6th, went out 14th. The problem, a lug nut hung up on the left front. Sadler now in 14th.
And you know, the thing about that 48 car, Mike, Larry, is, you know, you expect a crew like that to miss the setup every now and then, but they are spot on every week. That car handles and runs every week.
Every type of racetrack.
Johnson in 3rd, a 2.5 seconds off the lead. Behind him, Bill Elliott and our point leader, Sterling Marlin. Larry, we talked to Sterling at the top of the day. They were junk most of the weekend. They're okay. They're 5th place now.
Sitting in 5th after qualifying 27th. And we felt like in the first 50 or 60 laps, Darrell, if he could get to the top 10 without being sucked into an accident, that he would be okay here.
Looked like him and Glove made the right decisions, the adjustments they made to the car.
The 2 fastest movers right now are right behind Marlin. Tony Stewart and Rusty Wallace are coming to the front. They are 6th and 7th and closing.
And I tell you, walking through the garage this morning, taking my pole as I always do, a lot of fingers pointed at this 2 car of Rusty Wallace. And Tony Stewart, now remember in practice yesterday, he got into the wall. These guys almost went to a backup car, but they had to change the rear end housing, trailing arms, a lot of things, a lot of changes on that car this morning, and it's working out. We look at the telemetry here. This is on Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, almost 9,000 RPMs here at the end of the backstretch. This track is pretty symmetrical. You'll see the same maximum RPMs and straightaway speeds at the end of the straightaway.
And, buddy, let me tell you, they're cranking them up, too. They all got a lot of gear in these things. They're turning them 9 grand. I guess after 750 miles at Charlotte last week, 400 here's a piece of cake. But with that said, it takes about 3.5, almost 4 hours to run 400 miles here.
Darrell, take us for a lap or 2 here with Jeff Gordon.
You're down in the corner here. He's going into turn 3. And you see him, this is what we call diamond. He went up there a little bit. Now he's got the left wheel right back down on the apron. Comes up off of 4. You got to be real cautious right there because it's really a big transition. Drive hard down into 1. Let it slip up just a teeny bit and then get that good arc right down off to the corner there with the left front wheel on the apron. Down the back. Back straightaway bank 9 degrees, so it really pulls. You go down into 3rd turn hard. Now, if he's got a really good car, he can cut it under Rusty right there and make the pass.
You know, watching that orange car up there, though, Darrell, Tony Stewart in the 20 car, where he seems to be so strong is right there. His car is rotating. He's able to pick that throttle up, and it looks like he gets back to the throttle about 4 car lengths before most of these guys.
Now Rusty, nothing was wrong with Rusty's car right there. He let Jeff Gordon go by. He slid up the hill and lets Jeff go by. He knows he's a little quicker. That's how you make a pass and not hurt either guy. And that's the more experienced veteran drivers, they know that. They know where to let people go by so it doesn't slow either one of them down.
Looks a little like road racing, Darrell, where you try to time those passes so it doesn't slow down either car.
Exactly.
Matt Kenseth, the pole winner, trying to climb from the back. He is now up to 20th place, leading this group. Michael Waltrip, Bobby Labonte, Ryan Newman, who also started out back, Robby Gordon.
What I got all excited about was that Sterling Marlin turned that thing plumb sideways off of turn 4 there. So he's got to be just a little on the free side right now. And he immediately goes high.
When you go that high, that's a sign you're a little bit loose. You don't want to turn that steering wheel.
You just don't want to crank it hard left, so you start using more racetrack. Now, a lot of people think, well, it's pushing if it goes up there, but it's not. Usually it goes high when it's loose. You just don't want to crank the steering wheel to the left, so you use up more racetrack.
Well, we got a battle for second here. No longer a battle. Jimmie Johnson in the 48 car.
Doing an awesome job, buddy.
Keep pumping that driver up, nice and smooth, doing an awesome job. Everything just to coaching him, letting him know, hey, we see you're doing good. We still got a long way to go here.
Tell me how good I am. I just want to be sure somebody's watching this race besides me.
Right. How do you like me now?
How do you like me now?
Mark Momentum, 1 second ahead of the field here at Dover. Last Sunday night's winner at Charlotte, picking up right where he left off with his car owner Jack Roush here in attendance. Mark Martin leads at Dover. Mark Martin with a 1 second lead on Jimmie Johnson. Mark has now led 16 of his 32 Dover starts. Total of over 1,500 miles led on this track. He's a 3-time winner of the fall race. His teammates are faring well. Kurt Busch has climbed up to 16th. Matt Kenseth at 21st. As Busch, after this last pit stop, has really come on. He's up to 16th spot. Jeff Burton is 20th.
Boy, Busch has. I've been watching him. He's been reeling them in just one at a time. And, of course, you know, he ran good on the concrete at Bristol. And so I got to think that some of that information applies here.
Actually won a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race here, but definitely some adjustments they made on those first couple of stops has really brought him to life. You see on the Fox tracks here, he's about a half a lap behind our leader right now, Mark Martin.
And our Rent-A-Center serial scoring on Kurt Busch started way out back due to that crash and has come now to 16th position.
And you know, that crash was so uncalled for.
Yeah.
He was fifth on his first lap, and he was going for more. Didn't get it.
The young guns have been misfiring a little bit this weekend. Watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ryan Newman.
Oh yeah, they've been working on each other.
Do I have to say it? Hello, Newman.
Yeah, hello, Newman.
Well, a little bit what's going on right there also. The leader's only about 6 or 7 seconds behind them, so that definitely makes a difference.
Hello.
Newman and Craven had already gotten together when Earnhardt Jr. joined the party.
And I don't, you know, Newman may want to consider. Larry and I watched him when he went off break his qualifying run Friday, and we both stood there and I kept punching Larry. I said, he's going to spin it out. He's going to spin it out. And he did.
As he completed lap 2.
They need to join Todd Bodine in the NASCAR Witness Protection Program before long. Jeremy Mayfield made an unscheduled pit stop. Dick Berggren.
Well, they're not too sure exactly why he made that unscheduled pit stop, other than there is a problem in the left rear corner of the car, Mike. The left rear tire that came off on the prior pit stop indicated he had rubbed into something. Right now, the crew is huddled over the tire that just came off the car, and the wheel and the tire are loaded with grease. That's not right. Something's leaking on Jeremy Mayfield's left rear.
Sounds like maybe a rear end seal, or it possibly could be a O-ring in a caliper, a little brake fluid.
He's 2 laps down, and this early in the race, that it's going to be hard for it to make it without something tearing up back there.
Yeah, whatever it is, it'll get worse.
Doubleheader weekend next weekend. The Busch Series at Nashville, Winston Cup at Pocono. We'll have all the action for you on the Fox family of networks.
Me and Steve Burns will be over in Nashville calling that race next Saturday evening.
The Nashville Cats.
Somebody will walk out there with a nice new guitar.
How about our Daytona 500 winner Ward Burton, Matt?
Mike, he's currently riding back in the 31st position. In happy hour, Ward Burton was complaining about the double deuce being loose. He was loose early in the race, but now he's tight. But the biggest concern for Ward is now he does not have any radio communication with his spotter. He cannot hear Rocky Ryan on top of the press box. So now Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, is spotting him from turn 4 down the straightaway, while his owner, Bill Davis, has climbed on top of the team's transporter down in 1 and 2, trying to spot the rest of the racetrack. DW, you know how important it is to have your eyes on top of this racetrack. Spotters are very important.
Yeah, just it makes you real apprehensive when you know your spotter can't communicate with your spotter, because things happen so quickly here. You need all the advance warning you can get from somebody up here, not somebody down in the pits.
Spotters are important everywhere, but boy, this is definitely one of those places.
18th place, Casey Atwood and Steve Park battle.
Looks like, Larry, the guys all climb the hill after they get several laps on their tires. Seeing more and more cars start to use the high line. Starting to get up in that second and third groove. Steve. Park.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this is one of the places. Good thing about it, and it's just happened over the last few years with the 2 or 3 grooves of racing, is that you can move your car around to best suit how your car's handling. Maybe it runs a little better up top. Maybe it runs better down low on fresh tires. Then when you get some laps on your tires, it'll work a little better as you move the car up a little bit.
Park tries the bottom, slides it right in there, but off of 2, you can see, as Darrell said, he has to pedal it. He just can't keep his foot down and complete the pass.
No, you've got to have the whole track over there to make that pass on the bottom, and that guy on the outside's got to give it to you, because you know, he can't just slam on the brakes.
Here's a fellow who's backing up. Ricky Craven is back to 22nd place.
Yeah, I think that fender is probably, as they go along, that fender will be a bigger factor, more of a factor, because as the tires go away, you need that aerodynamic downforce.
And I'm sure one thing that Mike Bing, his crew chief, is thinking, you just don't want to give up any track position trying to fix that thing. But as he continues to slide backwards at the back of the field, you're going to have to take the joke and go ahead and try to fix that thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be on further review. We should have fixed it when it happened.
As Craven backs up, the car that's coming to the front is Robby Gordon. Gordon started in 29th position. He's now restarted in 29th at lap 51. He's now moved up to 16th.
Here you see with the Fox track, watching his interval. He's shrinking just a little bit, but that's a little over about a half a lap, a little over a half a lap behind our leader right now, Mark Martin. And remember, this is his last weekend that he'll be working with his team and his crew chief, Gil Martin. Next week, headed to Pocono, these 2 RCR teams, Richard Childress Racing, Kevin Harvick's group, Robby Gordon's group, they'll be swapping teams.
There's some good cars all back in here. Bobby Hamilton's running really good right now, and some others that are back in the pack that I think are going to have good days.
Mark Martin now leading by just half a second over Jimmie Johnson. 34 cars are still on the lead lap.
The MBNA Platinum 400, Mark Martin's last back-to-back wins were in May of '97, Sears Point and Talladega. He's leading here and trying to win after winning last week in Charlotte. Today's No Boundary story is brought to you by Ford. Mark Martin has had great success here. Hitting the $1 million bonus in Charlotte, as well as victory of last week, and leading here on the lap 93. He's won 3 straight fall races at Dover. That was back in the late 90s, and this is a different kind of race for him to run on this particular track, Jeff Hammond.
Well, I mean, what I've noticed right now about Mark Martin, he's got himself a real steady pace going. But a week ago at Charlotte, he was slicing and dicing through traffic right there at the end of that race. I mean, he was kind of like throwing caution to the wind. But here at Dover early on, he's very meticulous, setting these guys up not to get himself in trouble with lap traffic as he comes up on them. You got to be very careful to let a guy know you back there so he don't get pinched in the wall or you get pinched in the wall. So you've got to be careful with all this lap traffic at a place that's so fast.
Roush Racing has already had back-to-back wins this season. Mark Martin, one of the over 40 crowd, leading the way. Right behind him, Jimmie Johnson, one of the young guns. Let's get a check now trackside with Matt Yoakum. Matt?
Chris, when they started this 48 team, Jimmie Johnson received some of Jeff Gordon's hand-me-downs in equipment, but some pretty stout equipment. In 3 starts with this chassis number 50, Gordon had a 4th and a 3rd at Bristol and a 7th at Homestead. Jimmie had a 7th with this race car back at Bristol in the spring. Right now, Jimmie is saying the car is loose on entry. So they try the Kyle Petty approach. Get out of the gas early, then let it flow through and then ease back into it. But Jimmie says the car doesn't react. It reacts worse when he tries that approach. He says the car also has a funny loose in the right front. To Steve.
Well, Matt, veteran Ricky Rudd making his 48th start at the Monster Mile. He's got 4 wins here. He says, hey, Michael McSwain, don't mess with the balance of this race car. Just give me some more grip. They're talking about making an air pressure adjustment to both rear tires. Back to Matt Yoakum.
Steve in 6 starts here at Dover. Mr. Recent Dover, Tony Stewart, has 2 victories. Stewart, after a track bar and wedge adjustment, said the car was very good at the beginning of this run, but now he reports in is starting to go back to the loose side. So they're starting to scratch their heads again. Greg Cicinelli figuring out what adjustments they want to make to this Home Depot Pontiac on their next stop.
Stewart back to 7th. Matt Kenseth's been up and down. When we went to break, he was in front of Craven. Then he backed up behind both Newman and Earnhardt Jr. Now he's picking up spots again. He's at 21st. But Jeff Green has been the fellow who, remember, he went from 20th to 5th on a 2-tire pit stop, and we said he was backing up. Larry, he didn't back up that far.
No, I mean, definitely what he accomplished what he needed to accomplish. And I mean, he's starting to slide back a little bit now because he rode 9th for the longest time. He went from 20th to 5th, fell back to 9th, stayed there for about 30 laps. It's starting to deteriorate a little bit here now, though he's back to 12th.
Well, he's got the big diamond. He's going in low and going all the way up to the top and then driving hard off the corners, and that's really paying off for him. It did yesterday. Tony Stewart, following up on Matt's story just a little bit, what he did, the 26 car, who's a lap down, was all over the back of him. Tony was running the low line. All of a sudden, Tony started to move the car up the track, and now he is pulling away from the cars that were racing him. So a good driver will find a way to make the car work, find a place to make the car work.
You know, right now we're here on our longest green flag run. Mark Martin in the 6th, our leader. This is the biggest problem you have at Dover is lap traffic. He's working on Michael Waltrip right now in the 15 car. Michael's in the 28th position. You see he's already put Jimmy Spencer, the 41 car, lap down. Meanwhile, and this will happen, cars going a lap down, they will fight that leader because they're trying to stay on the lead lap. Once the leader goes by, Jimmie Johnson gets to him. They might not fight him as hard because he's not doing the damage to him.
Yeah, and you see Jimmy's closing right up on the back of Mark because of lap traffic. Everybody's got to do, you know, everybody's on a different agenda. Michael's trying to stay on the lead lap. Here comes Johnson closing up on the leader.
But this is Jimmie Johnson's first race here at Dover. He needs to be patient. Mark Martin has that experience here. He knows where he needs to go by these race cars. Many laps here.
Well, but you can become frustrated with the cars that, you know, you want that guy to move out of your way. Man, I'm the leader of the race. Get out of my way.
You know, last winter, a lot of people said too soon when we heard that Jimmie Johnson was being moved up from the Busch to the Cup Series. Because quite frankly, we hadn't seen a whole lot in Jimmie Johnson that said this fella's a potential Winston Cup winner.
But I'm going to tell you another guy that I think we did the same thing with a few years ago, Tony Stewart. He didn't do a whole lot in that Busch series, but boy, he made an impression on Winston Cup when he started 3 years ago with Joe Gibbs Racing.
And there is Stewart, who right now rides in 7th. Kyle Petty right behind him in 8th. Rusty Wallace and Elliott Sadler are the rest of the top 10. We're quarter distance, 104 laps. 27 cars are on the lead lap at Dover. Watch the event cycle through and see cars that are so fast in the first 50 miles, and then things change. Like right now at 3rd place, here comes Jeff Gordon, who was kind of out of the picture for the last 40 laps, and he just slices right past Ricky Rudd, takes over 3rd.
Looks like he's got one of those cars that really is good on a long run. He just chased down Ricky and got by him. I was a little worried about him with no flames, but that paint job is going to be okay, looks like.
But I tell you, I talked to Robby Loomis, his crew chief, this morning. I said, what do you got, buddy? How are you? He said, I'm going to tell you, our whole group, this is the first time we've had this confidence since Daytona in February. He said, everything looks good. Looked good yesterday in practice.
Well, see, there's just some, that's a new paint job.
Well, it was the Daytona paint job.
Yeah, it's the Daytona. It's always, sometimes it just takes the smallest things to get a group of guys fired up.
And what this paint job is about, it's the 200th anniversary of their sponsor, DuPont, which is just up the road here from Dover.
Yeah, they own Wilmington, I think, just all of them.
I think you're right.
112 laps. Mark Martin's Ford, Jimmie Johnson's Chevrolet, and then this man, Jeff Gordon.
But I think MBNA finances it for him.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at that consistency on long runs from lap 51 to 87. You know, a 36-lap run. Just look at the miles per hour there. And that just, I mean, he's so consistent right there, 140 to 143.
And lap 51 was lower because the cars were all jumbled up. That was the first lap after the restart.
In traffic. But real consistent for the next 30-something laps.
And that's a driver's dream, is to have a car that's just that consistent. Know what the car's going to do every lap.
Mark Martin, he just put Bobby Labonte, the 26th place car, a lap down. 18 car.
Anybody else running good back in the pack? 28 to 24 is running about the same time as you are when they get clean track. 48 has faded just a little bit since you caught traffic.
Mark just trying to size up here a fourth of the way through who my competition is right now. Right now, though, Dick Berggren, he's about 2/10 faster than everybody out there.
Yeah, but Larry McReynolds, Mark Martin's real competition, maybe the heat of this day. As soon as the race began, he keyed the radio and told his crew that his helmet blower was blowing hot air into his helmet. Crew Chief Ben Leslie, can you do anything to help your driver on this helmet blower problem?
Well, what we're going to do basically is just make sure he gets a lot of liquids every time he stops. You know, Mark is in great shape. He's in great condition. He's going to have to soldier it out for us. We'll have to get it fixed as soon as we can.
That's a tough deal on a hot day like this to try to run with hot air blowing inside the helmet.
Now, we talked to you earlier about air-conditioned cars. And imagine if you have your air-conditioned car and the air doesn't work and the windows, your electric windows won't go down. That's going to be tough. Matt.
Mike, 2 years ago today, Kyle Petty gave a heart-wrenching press conference here at the Dover International Speedway about taking over the driving duties of the 45, then Busch car, future Winston Cup team. Today is his birthday. Stephen Lane, his crew chief, told me they feel like his best shot to get back into victory lane is right here at Dover and a few weeks down the road at the road course at Sonoma. Kyle's reporting in that his car is very good. Stephen Lane asked him how good. He says darn near perfect. He has climbed all the way up to 7th. What a birthday party it could be for Kyle Petty if he breaks through with this team with their first Winston Cup victory here at a special place, Dover.
That it would be, Matt, and that puts 3 Dodges in the top 10.
Kyle and I had a big laugh the other night. I saw him. I said, Kyle, where's that driving school you went to? I said, because all of a sudden, you know, you're a driver again. That's what everybody thinks you went to some school or something.
Dodgeball, here's 4 of them, 2 of them on the lead lap, the 9 of Elliott, and the Coors number 40 of Sterling Marlin are lead lap cars. They're running 5th and 6th. Casey Atwood's also on the lead lap in a Dodge.
You know, the other thing, Mark was wanting to know who was good and who wasn't. He knows how hard he's running his car. He's leading the race, got a comfortable lead. He knows about how hard he's running right now. He's trying to figure out if I need to run harder later on, if I can or not, and if I need to change my car to keep up with the track.
Riding with Rusty now. Rusty's given up a few spots. He was in the top 10. Now he's Kurt Busch just went by him for 13th place. Rusty now 14th.
Yeah, I tell you, Kurt Busch, he just continues to get better. Now, we're by far on the longest green flag run. In fact, we're only about 10 or 12 laps away from green flag pit stops. But this car that Kurt Busch has here, they've not run this car at all this year. And they didn't know a whole lot about this car. They didn't feel as good about it as the car they unloaded on Friday when we first got here.
Matt Kenseth has passed about 100 cars today. He's gone up, he's gone back. He started in the back, and now he is up to 12th place, challenging Robby Gordon for 11th.
Pretty good hot rod.
It wasn't long ago, Darrell, that Kenseth was 5.5 seconds from going a lap down to Mark Martin. Then he got a break, busted through some traffic, and is on the move. Here's the interval back.
Look at Fox Tracks again. It's about 18 seconds behind the leader. Now, this is about 3/4 of a lap behind his teammate Mark Martin. But right now, he's running about the same speed, within 1/10 of what the leader. There's the leader right there. Mark Martin, 6 car.
Better get the whip out because that 6 car is coming, baby.
Mark Martin has now opened up a 4-second lead on Jim over at 126 laps. Ryan Newman and Steve Park crashed coming out of turn 2. You see that Park is out of the car. He is okay. But it collected up our race leader, Mark Martin.
Yeah, it happened right in front of Mark. Or not really, not right in front of him. Coming off turn 2 over here, the 12 and the 1 spin. And I got to believe Mark got down and got trashed on his tires and couldn't drive his car through this.
Newman on the bottom, Park on the top, and they funnel out of turn 2.
Newman just slides up into the 1 car. Now this is all happening right in front of Mark. You'll see some cars go by on the outside of these 2 guys. But Mark
just could not get stopped.
I guess he was in a box. Larry, the 12 was out there and he couldn't go high. The 1's down low, and he just was in a box.
And I'm sure he was anticipating both these cars were going to slide. I mean, the straightaway's banked 9 degrees. Only everybody slides down.
The wheels were locked up, Darrell. He couldn't make the cut to go between them.
Here he comes. You'd think the spotter by now would be telling him, slow down, slow down, slow down. Back it down. They're spinning in front of you. By now, he's almost stopped. It's almost like he thinks that he thought Park was going to keep going down the hill because that's normal here, but Park was such a slow he couldn't.
And just as Mark gets to Newman, his wheels lock up, and then you lose your steering when the brakes lock.
I just think he was thinking that 1 car was going to keep right on down the track because, like I said, he was in the 12 was there. He couldn't go high.
Right.
He was just in the wrong place.
Dick Berggren's there.
Now, Mark Martin has been on the radio telling the crew, don't work too terribly hard on this thing. He doesn't want him to break it worse than it's broken already. He's taking a pretty good punch in the nose with this thing, Mike. Most important is when you heard that the water pressure is still there. That means that the radiator is not punctured. Right now, they're trying to get the nose of the car up off the ground, and they have succeeded to a degree in that. Most of the crew working on the nose of the car right now. Let's go to bat as Mark leads.
And Dick, Jimmie Johnson came into the pits first, left in second after a 16-second stop. No major trouble, just a tick slow. He said his car was tighter at the end of that run, so they made a wedge and air pressure adjustment, helping that 48 car hopefully on the next run. This is Steve Burns.
Well, Matt, Jeff Gordon came in. He said that his car was tight in the middle, which delays his ability to get back on the gas pedal. So they went down a half pound on the right rear. Now, Ricky Rudd had trouble in the pits. They made no adjustments, but he was blocked in by the 97. They had to push him backwards so he could get it in gear. That cost him some spots on pit road.
Now, Steve, with the leader caught up in this, a lot of drivers were able to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, about 10 or 12.
Yeah, in particular, Bobby Labonte right here, the 18 car, Michael Waltrip, the 15 as well.
The best stop was that of Jeff Gordon, who comes out first.
They knew it was a good stop.
Oh, yeah, you come out, he's leading the race.
Now Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming out of his pit.
Yeah, the 30 car, I think he just didn't really want to let Junior in front of him, but that wasn't very wise on the 30 car's part, Larry, because that wasn't necessary.
No, and I mean, this pit road is hardly not wide for 2 cars to run side by side, going down pit road beside each other.
Drivers who got back on the lead lap include Stacy Compton,
He's got to go.
Jeff Burton, Michael Waltrip, Bobby Labonte.
Get caught up.
This crash collects our race leader. We're under caution at Dover. Cleaning up the crash of Steve Park and Ryan Newman on the back straightaway. Newman was able to continue, but it collected up our leader, Mark Martin.
This is what I would call the perfect storm.
Yes.
Right here, you see these cars come off the corner. Now you're going to see the 12 and the 1 come into front. Here they come. Now look, they're up high. Here's Mark back here coming off of the corner. They got the outside blocked. You got cars going by Mark on the inside here. There's the M&M's car down there, Kenny. Now we call this a self-cleaning track. So you would assume that that 1 car is going to go all the way to the bottom, but look at this. He locks up and stops right in front of Mark. And Mark he couldn't go outside, he couldn't go inside, right into the 1 car.
He was painted in a box.
Steve Burns.
And Mike, we've caught up with Steve Park. Steve, tell us what happened.
Look on TV, the 12 car just smacked right into the side of the Pennzoil car, and it's just a shame. We had a good car, with a car that we thought would run in top 10, and you know, just to have a rookie take us out is just unbelievable. I don't know what to say. I'm trying to be polite, and you know, all you hear about is the young guns. I think they need to take a lesson from some of the old drivers, without a doubt.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, Mark Martin has made 3 pit stops trying to have his crew repair the damage to the nose of that car. Crew chief Ben Leslie has told him, take it fast into one of the corners, see what it's like. Mark did that, came back and said it's pushing. Nothing is dragging on the racetrack, but the aerodynamics are absolutely destroyed. Mark Martin out of the lead in the back of the pack as we come to green. Mike?
He is still on the lead lap, but now it's going to be 2 Chevys and 3 Dodges at the front of the field. Jeff Gordon, Jimmie Johnson, Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, and Kyle Petty bring them down for the restart.
And they have a gauge in the car, some of the cars do, to tell him that the water system is still pressurized. And that's how he knew he didn't have any radiator damage.
For the first time on restart, the leader had a lot of lap cars to contend with, just like the second through about the 10th place race car. All those lap cars to the inside. Yeah, Mark Martin has 2 problems. One, he's killed his front downforce because of the way the front end's tore up. The other thing is there's a box behind that front end that directs the air through the radiator, and I'm sure that radiator ductwork box is killed. So they will have to keep an eye on that water temperature in particular.
He is 28th, the last car on the lead lap, as a lot of drivers got back on the lead lap due to Martin's misfortune.
Yeah, well, what Mark will have to do now is feel his car out and see what it's doing.
Spencer dives to pit road, almost didn't make it.
Boy, that was, he just
Black
about
flagged
caught,
on the restart.
he just about caught that barrier, those tires there at the end of the pit wall. It's easy to do here.
He was trying to hustle in there quickly so he wouldn't lose a lap on this penalty stop. Stop and go for Spencer. Off he goes. He's going to lose that lap before he gets up to speed.
And while he was penalized, NASCAR says when they give the 1 to go, everybody has to be in position by the time you get to turn 3, and he was still trying to get in line at turn 3.
Watch this, man. He comes down on the apron and you pick up a lot of sand, debris on your tires. Baby.
And this is one of the most treacherous pit roads to try to get on because it starts down in the middle of turn 4.
That's one of the times when you want to push the brake pedal harder, but you got to get off of it.
And right now, Jimmie's going to be 2 laps down because he had to run 35 miles an hour down pit road while these guys are out there running around this mile racetrack at a little over 24 seconds.
Kyle Petty being passed by Ricky Rudd puts 1 Ford in the top 5, along with 2 Chevys and 2 Dodges, those being Elliott and Sterling Marlin. So Kyle drops 1 spot to 6th. Let's go to his pit.
Today marks the 199th start since Kyle Petty's last win, which came right here at Dover on June 5th, 1995, and his car has really come to life. Stephen Lane, what have you guys done to the 45?
Well, on that first stop, we had to close the right front shock off just to slow the right front down, getting off into the corner. Other than that, just pull a little tape off, and it's been good all day. Hopefully we can run in the top 5 all day. Be a good birthday present for Kyle.
Kyle told me this morning, he said, we've kind of been like a Pac-Man, just slowly munching our way up, getting some consistency. The first 3 races this season, his average finish was 36th. The last 9 average finishes, 17th.
That's an impressive game, Matt.
Yeah, and you know, the question I have is Tony Stewart. Larry, he was up there in the top 10, had passed a lot of cars, got himself in great position. And what happened to him, Matt?
There is Stewart back behind Brett Bodine. Now Brett is 1 lap down. Stewart is back in 23rd position.
Yeah, I mean, he started in 25th. He had worked his way into the top 10, and then after that pit stop under that last caution, he fell all the way back to almost 27th. And now, as you say, he's back up to 23rd.
That's the way this racetrack is. Your favorite driver's not doing good, go to the souvenir stand. By the time you get back, he's likely to be back in contention.
And I guarantee you, I got Matt finding out what happened to the 20 car. He'll let me know here as soon as he can, if he doesn't give out a breath getting to their pit.
Sterling is closing in on Bill Elliott for 3rd place. The point leader, who, as we've documented, had not a good weekend, and even this morning questionable about his chances today. But he's found a high line he likes, and he's closing up on Bill Elliott for 3rd place.
I tell you what, when I'm not very good at a racetrack, I just wait till Sunday morning because I got notes from everybody out there. The driver goes on a reconnaissance mission. The crew chief does. The team does. By Sunday morning, you know what everybody's got. Pick one.
Right.
I mean, you talked about all the problems Sterling Martin has had qualifying here and in practice. They also had some inspection problems on Friday. The tail of the car was too wide.
I think first time in the top 10 for Dale Jarrett. Robert Yates UPS Ford in 10th place behind Elliott Sadler. And there's his serial scoring throughout the day.
Now the big brown truck in the ads has got flames on it, but I don't know why they don't put flames on that 88 car.
Well, all I know is the big blue truck with Lowe's on the hood. He's all over the rear bumper of his parked car owner, Jeff Gordon, at 24. We're going to have a battle for the lead here off turn 4 as they're side by side.
Not for long.
I wouldn't call that a battle.
I wouldn't either.
You know who owns that blue and silver car?
You do the math.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Sterling just climbed the hill and has fallen way back from Bill Elliott. He climbed the hill down in 3 and had himself a bit of a problem. Dropped back quite a bit. Okay, Matt Yoakum's had a chance to catch his breath. Matt, how about that 20?
Well, Mike, we're down here in the 20 pit. Tony Stewart back in 23rd. Greg Zippinelli, what's wrong with your race car?
It wasn't too bad. It just gave up too much on the long run. Felt like the back end was up out of the racetrack. So we elected to give up track position early, pull some rubbers out of both rear springs, and see if we can't just get the back down in the racetrack a little bit more and get him that feel he's looking for. Hopefully we can get up through traffic here and stay out of trouble.
He has been Mr. Dover lately, winning 2 of the last 4. He led 405 laps back in 2000, but only 5 last year. He's trying to get that Dover feel back, DW.
I think they had to have some kind of power. They did something major because they had it in the pits so long.
But I mean, that just goes to show you how good these crews are on pit road. I mean, it don't take that long to pull a rubber out of a rear spring. They have a little handle on them. What they elected to do early in the race, go ahead and give that track position up, pull those rubbers out of both rear springs. It softens the rate of those springs. That way, under acceleration, it will have better forward bite. The rear wheels will hook up on the throttle off the corner.
And having won here and knowing what it takes to win here, now's the time to make the changes. Get the car right so you're good at the end of the day.
Talk about big changes. How about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Darrell, he was almost lapped during the first long green flag run. Now he's up to 8.
I think he just found it. I think he's adjusted his car, made it better. He's running a high line. Finally found a place where the car feels pretty good to him. He's going on.
Of course, he won the race here in September the last time the cars were here. You see the Fox tracks now. This is his interval to our leader, Jimmie Johnson, about 6 3/4 seconds. Not really shrinking, just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit.
I think this racetrack, Larry, and you know this, that you win the race in the pits. The team that can keep up with the changing racetrack conditions and adjust their car to those conditions is the teams that win here.
But boy, down in 3 and 4 here in 1 and 2, I mean, he's running at the top of the black. He's running higher than anybody. He's trying to create even another groove up there.
And the reason I say that is because all through the weekend you run right around the bottom. All of a sudden you're up in the middle of the racetrack, and before the day's over, you're up around the top of it. You've got to have a car that'll run everywhere.
But it looks like he's almost, because he's going up there, he's driving it in deep. He's hesitating a lot in the center of the corner, and that's why Elliott Sadler pulls up on him right there just past the center of the corner.
Now, I'll tell you who else has tried that high line is Sterling Marlin, especially down at the north end of the speedway, turns 1 and 2. But for Marlin, it's not working as well as it is, as he's about to be caught by Ricky Rudd. There's Rudd in the picture, and that's the battle for 4th place.
And I tell you, it's fun to drive a car up high like that. I mean, you sail it off in a corner, and it goes up there headed for the fence, and you bank the throttle, jerk that wheel to the left, and come off that corner. You say, man, I'm a race car driver.
Well, I tell you, a car that went from the pit house to the outhouse. Our leader from a while ago, Mark Martin, in the 6 car, here in just about 15 laps. Leaders have already lapped him, so that just goes to show you how that little hit over there affected that race car. He's a lap down now.
Mark led 77 laps. Looked as if he was on a way to a repeat of his Charlotte victory, but got caught up in the misfortunes of Ryan Newman and Steve Park. Jimmie Johnson leads his teammate Jeff Gordon by 0.6 of a second. Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd,
Back to the MBNA Platinum 400. A quick recap. Matt Kenseth, who was on the pole and had to start 39th, moved all the way up inside the top 10. Todd Bodine taking out Joe Nemechek. His day finished. Then Steve Park and Ryan Newman slipping and sliding. And the leader at the time, Mark Martin, runs into Park. And after leading for 77 laps, is out of the picture. And in the picture, Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson, as those two share the lead and battle for it right now. And if you need more NASCAR, check out Speed Channel tomorrow at 7 Eastern, 9 Pacific. NASCAR Inside Winston Cup with the guys that are living it every weekend. Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, Kenny Schrader, and your host Alan Bestwick. Then Wednesday, Winston Cup Wednesday, with a replay of this week's race. Exclusive interviews from the drivers' teams. To get Speed Channel, call 888 22 speed. That's 888-22 speed. Watching from the Hollywood Hotel, Chris Myers with Jeff Hammond and the Hendrick Motorsports. Jeff Gordon trying to end a streak, by the way, that's gone 20 races without a win, but he did win here, remember, last year and dominated, leading 381 laps.
Yeah, and the thing is right now, Chris, if I was Jimmie Johnson, I think I'd let my owner lead this thing. He knows how to pace himself, and that aggressive pace may not do Jimmie any good as far as this long run's concerned.
Well, let's relate it to last week. Jimmie led 263 laps at Lowe's Motor Speedway, but there were some other mistakes that may have cost him.
Well, again, inexperience. He is a rookie. He may have run some Busch races, but this is Winston Cup, a whole different level. And sometimes a miscue can cost you a win, and I think that's what happened to him last week.
Speaking of the young gun, Steve Park, some harsh words for Ryan Newman, who he thinks created that, and then Mark Martin's wreck saying the young guns ought to let the veterans, or at least take a cue and learn a few lessons from the veterans. We'll see if Johnson does that with his owner, and there are some of the veterans. Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, their combined age, I think, is 240.
I'm not worried about their age. I'm more worried about their wins here at Dover, and those two guys know how to get the job done.
Ricky Rudd actually did start on the pole and has had success here. Let's go back upstairs.
Rudd's won here 4 times, Chris, more than any other track, and with 3 different car owners, Bud Moore, Rick Hendrick, and driving his own car. Jimmie Johnson is the 81st different driver to lead a race at Dover since the first Winston Cup race here in 1969.
There, I just had to slow down to keep it on the ground. It'll just chatter right on up the track.
No, I understand why you slow down, but I mean, you have no worries at all about blowing a right front. I mean, none. I might lie to you, but I'm not lying to you right now. How's that?
That's what I always told my crew chief. Lie to me, because that truth is killing me.
But Darrell, what Chad Knaus, his crew chief, is trying to tell him there, and that's one thing that we always focused on here at Dover, is the right front tire. I mean, you run around here in 25 or 26 seconds. The right front tire is loaded about 2/3 of that lap. This is Chad Knaus, Jimmie Johnson's crew chief right here. And if you can keep the car a little bit free, just a little bit, not loose, free, it takes the pressure off that right front tire. It's not building all that heat. So that's one good thing about keeping a car free here, or neutral.
And see, a rookie is not sure. Now, a veteran driver, he knows how far he's turning that steering wheel left. And if you're cranking that steering wheel around to the left pretty far, and you're coming up off that corner with that right front all bowed up under the car, that's when you might have a problem. Veterans know how far to turn that wheel.
Here's the 98 winner, Dale Jarrett, locked up in a battle now for 9th with Elliott Sadler in front of him and Robby Gordon right behind.
You know, this is an impressive run for Robby Gordon, that 31 car. I mean, he's only been here to Dover 1 time, and I mean, he's been right up here, right on the verge of top 10 the entire race.
He ran good last week. I thought he had a great run at Charlotte last week. I mean, for a guy that just come from Indianapolis, and I think he finished 16th last week, and he ran in the top 10 there for a while.
Right.
Pretty good run last week.
And I think that's one thing I semi-question about what Richard Childress is doing, because it's almost like the 31 team, Robby Gordon, his crew chief Gil Martin, that team just starting to come together. Now they're all going to go away and go over to Kevin Harvick. I think the 29 team needed a change. I'm just not sure it needed to be from the 31 team.
Sometimes an owner, you know, pressure builds. Got 3 teams, neither one of them doing all that great. Pressure builds. Everybody's saying, you got to do something, you got to do something, when maybe he should have waited just a teeny bit longer. It's always, like I said, it's hard to sit on that hot stove and sweat ice water.
Jarrett moves to 9th, Gordon to 10th. Elliott Sadler has now been kicked back to 11th. 27 cars on the lead lap. Jimmie Johnson is leading. His mentor and car owner with Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, right here is in 2nd place. Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, let's check in with his crew chief, Robbie Loomis. Robbie, how does Jeff Gordon like that race car right now?
He's liked the rebuilt Chevrolet pretty well. This last run right here, the set of tires are a little bit tight right now. You can see where it goes. It seems like on long runs are real good. A real good drive off of the car.
Let's go to Berggren.
Early on in this race, Dale Earnhardt Jr. drifted almost all the way back to the tail end. Right now, he's running 8th. Tony Uri Sr., what have you done to the car to make it so much better?
Well, when the race started, he said the rear wheels actually felt like they had jumped off the race track. The car was real loose. He said he couldn't control it. There's no way he could run all day that way. We went drastic on it. Moved track bar half around, pulled the rubber out, changed all the spring weight in the tires, and put light in it. Now we're back to a little bit too far down, a little bit too tight, so they started to try to free it up a little bit. Plus, we
Watch Earnhardt Jr. He's got the same car that he won here last fall.
Right now his position matches his car number, Dick. Harry Gant would be proud of Matt Kenseth. Gant won here 3 times, always in September. And look at the line that Kenseth has been running at the south end of the track. Actually, there he was down about half a lane, but he's been right up near the Dover on the wall.
They are not up there quite in the Harry Gant move groove yet, because you can still see some gray between the wall and the groove. When they get it right, they'll be right up against that Dover sign.
Gant also won the spring race once, but he was Mr. September.
He'd have probably won a whole lot more, but his old car was always duping on him.
Now Matt Kenseth qualified on the pole, was fast in pre-qualifying practice, set on the pole, but the team decided to change engines. He's come from the back before this year, trying to do it again.
You know, we interviewed Robbie Loomis talking about the 24 car, and you heard Steve Burns back in our pre-race show, beginning of the race, talk about how many laps he led here back in the spring. A year ago, 381. One reason he likes his car also, this is the same car that he did that with, and it's picking right up where it left off a year ago.
Ricky Rudd works past Hut Strickland, and Rudd is closing on Jeff Gordon for second place. Mark Martin led 77 laps early, but now it is Jimmie Johnson out in front at Dover. The MBNA Platinum 400, 19 laps to halfway. Jimmie Johnson leading his Hendrick Motorsports teammate, the defending Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon, who's looking for his first win of the year, while his rookie protege has already won. 9th place, Dale Jarrett.
Having a pretty
Robby Gordon have caught up to Earnhardt.
Having a pretty good go of it here. 88.8 is. It's going to be 888 here in a minute.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. late car. He's running that high side. Gets just a little better bite up on the straightaway, off the corner, up on that high side.
Just get a lot better run down to the straightaway. You don't have to deal with that big transition from the banking up onto the straightaway.
Here in Michigan, Darrell, are the tracks that come to mind where the high groove can be faster than the short way around.
It really can. And again, it's because it lines you up so much better with the straightaway. You're up there high, you get a good look at the straightaway, and you're backing the throttle a lot quicker coming off. Looks ugly in the middle of the corner because the guy will drive all the way up beside of you, but boy, coming off, that's where it pays off.
And they don't put that finish line in the middle of the corner.
No.
So.
DJ gave Junior, he gave him a little wake-up call there. He said, now either go on or get out of the way. So Junior said, I'll go on.
It was almost like through that corner we had Dale Earnhardt Jr. at the high side, Dale Jarrett in 88 behind him about the middle of the racetrack, and Robby Gordon in the 31. He was so low you couldn't even see him. Look, he's all the way at the bottom of the racetrack here.
Short way around.
And that's the difference in how the cars are handling. You just got to find a place where your car will feel pretty good and you can use the throttle as much as possible.
And that's why this track is sold out.
Yeah.
You get to see so many different lines and so many different races within the race here.
You can go in these corners. You can be 3 or 4 wide in the middle of the corner, but you can only be about 2 wide coming off.
Here you saw that group go by Mark Martin, the 6 car.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, sitting on the front porch, talking to JJ.
Now I've got to ask you, Darrell. You're Jimmie Johnson. You got a 2-second lead. Is this boring to be out there and just you got a big lead? What are you going to do but put on laps and put on laps?
He's a young guy. This is a whole new deal for him. It ain't boring, I promise you.
Okay.
Guys, one of the men that's really having an outstanding run here today is that 55 car, Bobby Hamilton. Started back there about 19th and slowly but surely, 13th that is, and climbed his way up here to 6th and putting a lot of pressure on our point leader, Sterling Marlin. As a matter of fact, he's making the pass right now. Got a really good looking race car. Car looks like it's working really good through the middle of the corner, and this is a great run for Bobby.
Yeah, it is, Jeff. I watched him a long time early on in the race, and he was really, really good right around the inside of the racetrack.
I mean, that's still where he's at, is right on the bottom. We see the telemetry here down about 7,200 in the middle of 1 and 2, about 5 1/4 seconds behind our leader, up to about 8,800.
Boy, he's so quick through the middle right there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's around the bottom, right around the bottom. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Larry Mack, the sleeper today, might well be that 55 car. In his first stop, they made a wedge adjustment. Since they haven't touch it on his last stop. All he called for was 4 tires. He's slowly creeping his way up. He didn't lead at all here last year, but he started almost the same place. He started 17th last fall and finished 10th. He's slowly working his way up. He could be a factor before the day's over.
Oh, I guarantee you, Matt. And what's good, I think being back with his crew chief from last year, Jimmie Elledge, coming back on board after being at the 88 car at the beginning of the year, it's almost like they're starting to come together again.
And I totally disagree with Matt. He's not slowly creeping up. He is coming in a hurry.
Ward Burton on pit road.
And this is about 20 laps early than what we probably see most of our leaders come to pit road, but Ward has been wrestling that Caterpillar Dodge all day long.
Yeah, this may not be for tires and fuel. This may be for a little driver relief. Just give him something to drink and cool him off.
Steve Burns.
Mike, we just heard Jeff Gordon radio into Robby Loomis. He said, I've got the worst push I've had all day. Robby Loomis said 10-4. We'll fix you up when you stop here just a little bit.
Yeah, Steve, I think this is when this racetrack really starts to get rubber down on the racetrack, and the more rubber that gets down, like most everywhere we race, even though it's concrete, the car will push worse, turn a lot less.
Plus, with cars running everywhere, the whole track gets rubber on it now.
Ward Burton's back on the speedway. Matt, what was the problem?
Mike, I talked to his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin Jr. He said Ward wanted some tires and wanted them soon, so we brought him in.
That's why I say that was a driver request right there. I'm coming in, and I'm coming in now.
7 laps from halfway on the Monster Mile, with Jeff Gordon trailing Jimmie Johnson by 3.4 seconds. Jimmie Johnson now leading by 3.8 seconds. One of our Fast 5 qualifiers having a problem. Kurt Busch cut down a right front tire and has made a pit stop just a little bit early for scheduled stops.
Yeah, but it felt right. It's a pretty good time to make one, Larry, because it's not that much early, maybe 10 laps or so, and he did have a right front down.
No, I mean, we're within about a 10 to 15 lap window when all the leaders are going to be on pit road. The downside, should the caution come out before all the leaders come, then you're going to be sitting there 2 laps down.
So it's 2 Chevys and then the Ford of Ricky Rudd, who actually took the green flag in the pole position. Bobby Hamilton has climbed up to 4th place. Let's check with Steve.
Hey, Mike, Ricky Rudd riding in that 3rd position. He just radioed in and told his crew he's going to try to get around Jeff Gordon before the pit stop because he's pitting just in front of the 24 car on pit road and wants an easier shot into his pits.
I mean, Steve, Darrell, we talk about that so much, and if you can coordinate that on a green flag stop, it's beneficial for both race teams.
Yeah, we got a car slow down here in the middle of 1 and 2. That's Brett Bodine. I don't think he's going to get down out of the way.
And here's the best battle on the racetrack, Darrell. Casey Atwood just worked his way past Robby Gordon, and Mike Skinner has caught that bunch as well.
Brett Bodine, I think he may have had a tire go down. I couldn't tell. He took off up the track as if something like a tire. These long green flag runs, if you're going to have some tire problems, they're going to start showing up.
Mark Martin led 77 laps early, but you see the damage as he got collected up in a crash between Ryan Newman and Steve Park.
That was a pretty car about 100 laps ago. That thing's ugly now.
I mean, he looked like he was definitely on track to win 2 in a row, no doubt. Jimmie Johnson, he's about 4.4 seconds out front of his teammate, Jeff Gordon.
Brett Bodine, flat right front tire. Now that's 2 in a row here. And like I say, we're in that pit window. Tires are hot. If you run over anything much at all right now, they're worn. You can cut one down.
And Kyle Petty backing up. He's now dropped out of the top 10.
You know, Jeff, we always do it. I know Darrell rolls his eyes back in his head. He don't want to hear nothing about it because we're just about 4 laps past halfway. But all the leaders were on pit road at lap 126. If we can run the minimum of that fuel window, which is 85 laps, that means somewhere around 211 we have to be in. At 211, that's going to be tough to make it on one more stop. We have to run 95 laps and 94 laps. So this would be the run. I want to stretch it as far as I probably can, but I don't want to run out of fuel.
Yeah, and the one thing, Larry, that bothers me about that is these cars, everybody seems to have a really low gear. They're really working the motors hard, turn them 9,000 RPM. That burns a lot of fuel.
Darrell, you're exactly right. This year at Dover, I think the guys are running more gear than ever before, and that's definitely going to affect your fuel mileage. And again, the other thing is NASCAR has really gotten real strict on the fuel cell size, which again, you keep talking about the best way to go farther on fuel is have more than anybody else, and that's also a factor this year. So I really look for these guys to come to pit road and have to make another stop before the end of this race. So it's going to make it real interesting who gets the best breaks as far as getting as far as you can, getting on and off pit road. It's going to become strategy and pit crews before the end of the day.
It makes this a difficult time of the race for drivers and spotters because some of the cars that were slower earlier in the race suddenly have new tires and they come firing out of the pits like Superman, and they're fast.
Yeah, and you got new tires on, you're coming down the back straightaway, and some guy decides he's going to pit right up the middle of 3 and 4. You're closing at about 25 mile an hour faster. You run into the back of him.
Kyle Petty in the 45 car been running in the top 10 here. He's on pit road. He's one of the first leaders to come to pit road.
Yeah, he was backing up, Larry. He needed to come to pit road. Matt.
Well, DW, I spoke with his crew chief, Stephen Lane. He told me he would have liked to have kept Kyle out there to about lap 220, but he just felt like he couldn't because they were starting to lose too much time as Kyle slowly creeps into his pit. Stephen Lane told me they were going to make an air pressure adjustment, try to open up the stagger a little bit, half a pound in the right rear to try to help fix Kyle's tight in the middle. As the guys come around to the left side of the car, remember we told you the last time Kyle Petty went to Victory Lane and Winston Cup competition, it was right here in Dover, and he is good to go.
His Petty teammate John Andretti in and out as Mike Skinner is having a strong run here today, and Robby Gordon duke it out.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Skinner picking up that new crew chief last week, Chris Carrier. Now, Scott Eggleston, who was his crew chief, still on board as a team manager. But I just think Mike and Chris Carrier will come together and gel because they worked with each other on Andy Petrie's Busch car before.
And I got to tell you something about Robby Gordon. I do believe this is going to play out in the end. He stays with this team long enough. They get a handle on Robby Gordon, get control of his emotions. He can drive a race car. We all know that. I think if they get him in the right environment, he could be somebody to deal with for the year's over with.
I think he's the closest thing we have to Tim Richmond in Winston Cup racing today.
I mean, I love Robby. He's a good guy. He just needs to get control of his
See,
emotions.
Mike Skinner, he's waving his hand. He's wiggling the car. He's out of fuel right here on the backstretch. He was waving his hand, trying to tell these guys, hey, I need to get to pit road.
Okay, 4 tires of fuel, no adjustment. 400.
Jeremy Mayfield is in, and so is Nadu.
Right now, I'm coasting right now. Speeder to it. Pull in, pull in. Hold the brake, hold the wheel straight.
Green flag pit stops.
He told him he was coasting. He was out of fuel. The motor was not running.
And Larry, just like you said, I think these guys are trying to work that pit strategy, get into that window, but that's what can bite you right there.
And with the straightaways even being banked here, with the pickup, the fuel pickup over in the right rear corner, the fuel even runs away from the pickup on the straightaways being banked 9 degrees.
One thing I noticed on Mike Skinner's car, guys, when he came in out of fuel.
Oh, trouble. Kenseth in the wall between 3 and 4.
No caution.
And he's trying to get to pit road, but he's cut a tire down.
Yeah, he'll make it to pit road. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Yeah, that's a pretty good lick right there.
Oh, he's killed the right front.
And it's another right front, I believe. I tell you something.
Up on the right side, we're looking for damage then.
Yeah, you got a lot of damage, bud.
Bobby Labonte in the 18 car, he got his lap back, but what a tough break for people like Mike Skinner, Kyle Petty in particular, that already made their green flag stop.
And this is what you hope for when you're staying out there that other lap or two. Get that caution at somebody else's expense. But I'm worried. That's the third right front I've seen in the last 10 or so laps go down.
And our number 2 point man, Matt Kenseth, has gone to the garage. Tough day for Roush Racing. Mark Martin swept up in somebody else's crash, and look what happens to Matt Kenseth here.
Going into turn 3. I mean, he was in there.
That was a hard lick. When
That's
you hit the wall here, you hit it a ton.
Just about the time he was going to turn into the corner, right front tire went down, and into the wall he goes.
From Elliott Sadler.
There he goes. Bam, right there.
When you blow a right front tire,
baby, that hurts.
You can turn the wheel all you want, it's going to go straight.
Picks up speed.
Leaders of the pit road.
Dick Berggren.
Sterling Martin started this race in 27th position. He has worked his way all the way up to 5th prior to this round of pit stops. They're going to take a round in the left rear, and that's all they're going to do to this race car. And let's go to Matt.
Leader and rookie Jimmie Johnson, who took over the lead on lap 145. He said the car began to get a little loose on lap 153. But they're not going to make any chassis adjustments as the jack man and 7th grade school teacher Chris Sanderson drops the jack to Steve Burns.
Well, Jeff Gordon did get a chassis adjustment, Matt. It took 4 tires, 1 round in the right rear. He said he picked up a very bad push. The track has gotten extremely tight.
I tell you guys, the rookie driver's doing his job on pit road. That rookie pit crew, Jimmie Johnson, 48 car, they did the job as well.
55 car over there. He come in running 4th, and he killed the engine. They couldn't get it started. They had to push him out. Finally got it fired. Oh, Jimmie Johnson he's just got so much confidence. That whole team does. They can't do anything wrong. Only thing he can do wrong is, yeah, look at him. You looking good, baby. If you had flames on that 48 car, tell him how fast he could.
See a little celebration here.
You hot, you hot. There they are. 7 guys that do this.
It came into Dover on the verge of perhaps becoming only the 61st driver to ever lead the Winston Cup point standings. That will have to wait for another day. A lot of damage to the right front of the DeWalt Ford. Jeff Hammond.
Guys, we were starting to talk this before that problem with Matt Kenseth. Mike Skinner came down pit road and was out of gas. So what they did, they got the 4 tires changed, got him full of gas, but before the car could get cranked, they actually stuck a can of ether down inside the cowl area on a pole and got the car to refire itself. If you look at coming in, you'll see it right here. There it is. And they're actually putting ether in there to help the car crank up. It got him refired and on his way. Unfortunately, the caution did put him 2 laps down, but he's got a very good car here today. Maybe he can get those 2 laps back. Matt Jokum, I think you're with Matt Kenseth.
Actually, Steve, down here, we've just caught up. He's talking to Robbie Reiser, team hard at work. Matt, what happened?
We just blew right front tire. You know, it's just a product of Dover. You have that happen once in a while. I didn't think we were overly aggressive, you know, on air pressure or camber, and my car was extremely on the loose side. So I was surprised as anybody we blew on as loose as we were, but just a bad break. We had to come from the back. We had to run hard all day, and just bad luck.
Matt, you came in here 2nd in points. Can you get the car back on the racetrack?
I don't know. I think we could get it back out, but it's a long ways to make it out there. So we're probably 100 laps away from getting it out. So if there's not a big wreck or something like that, I don't know if we'll make it back out or not.
Jimmie Johnson leads Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Dale Jarrett on the restart. Jerry Nadeau on the left of your screen tried to get a lap back from the leader, not successful.
Man, there was a big gaggle of them right there down in turn 1. The 73 car is just kind of caught in the middle there, and he can't get out of people's way.
And Darrell, we certainly hope it don't happen, but it happens a lot at Dover. Cautions breed caution.
Yeah, and watch this, Larry. Down on that restart, the 73 car, he gets shoved up just a little bit here, and man, all of a sudden, here they come. What do I do now? What's the spotter saying when that's happening?
Hold your position.
Right.
That's Tony Raines making his first Winston Cup start here this afternoon.
About all you can tell a driver in a case like that is hold your line.
And he did. He's given a good account of himself in his Winston Cup debut.
Look at Jimmie Johnson on that 48 car. He's already pulled out almost a 2nd lead here with Jeff Gordon in the 24. Of course, he's having to battle Jerry Nadeau in the 10, who right now is 3 laps down.
Yeah, that 48 car don't need anything, baby. It's just out of here.
Now, Bobby Hamilton was up among the front 5.
Yeah.
Now he finds himself in 16th position. Matt, what happened?
Well, Mike will check in with his crew chief, Jimmy Alledge. Jimmy, what happened?
Well, we were about a lap away from pitting anyway, and the caution come out and right around here with the banking on the straightaway like it is. The fuel run right from the pickup and the thing run out of gas. So by the time we got to pit road, it was out of gas. And had a good pit stop, but no fuel, so we had to push it off. We got a really good car, and I want to thank all the guys in the motor shop that really stepped it up and worked really hard to give us a good piece this weekend. Bobby's doing a good job. Pit crew's doing good. If we just keep it full of gas and don't make no more dumb mistakes, we'll get back up there.
He was 10th here last fall. Bobby Hamilton Sr. was. His best finish here, Mike, was a second back in 1995, the fall race.
And the most disgusting feeling for a crew chief is to have something like that happen, because you know what? He just beat himself.
And now enough
competition.
And now Hamilton's got to fight his way up from the back, as so many drivers have already done today.
That last shot we just saw, you saw Ward Burton in the 22 car pulling out of the garage. Matt Yoakum was telling me while we were break, running so bad, they decided to do a little mini test session. Let's go to the garage, change front springs, front shocks. Let's see if we can learn something, because we have to come back here in September.
This joint will do that to you. You can be so bad here that you don't even want to go on the racetrack. You're going to have to do something to this car, or I'm parking it.
Let's add that Dick Trickle's car has gone to the garage, joining Joe Nemechek, while Steve Park, who was involved in that lap 124 crash with Ryan Newman, has repaired his Chevrolet, and he's back out on the track.
Yeah, and Ward Burton, he's not had very much luck at this racetrack. He's never even had a top 5 finish. So, again, if they can find out something today, then they can use it for the future.
And see, a lot of people don't like to come here and test, because you really don't get a good test here until the rubber gets down on the racetrack. Well, if you're here by yourself, all you do is wear out tires. Today, race conditions, great time to try things.
2 seconds. That's the margin from Jimmie Johnson to Jeff Gordon, then Ricky Rudd, Sterling Marlin, and in 5th, Dale Jarrett.
Still there, still there.
Dick Berggren.
Still there.
Well, Jarrett started in 31st spot, Mike, and he has soldiers his way toward the front all day long. This morning, Garth Finley, his engineer, and Doug Gates, his engine builder, and I had conversation, and both those guys were incredibly optimistic. They said that at Charlotte for the last 2 weeks, the cars just weren't right, but they were very confident of today. And today I just talked to Todd Parrott, his crew chief, and Parrott sort of winked at me and said that they're going to make little tiny changes on it from here until the end of the race. DJ's got a chance to win this in car number 88.
Yeah, Dick, he likes this race car. This is the same car that he was on both poles for last year. But I tell you, a car that has crept up there racing in the top 10. Jeff Burton in that 99 car. We got a battle for second right here, though, with Ricky Rudd in the 28, Jeff Gordon in the 24, and, of course, Kyle Petty in the 45, making that scheduled green flag stop, but the caution flag bit him. He's up there trying to get back with these guys, maybe catch that caution, get one of those laps back. But I was talking about Jeff Burton. He started in 33rd. He was on the verge of going a lap down earlier. He has fought his way back to 8th position in that 99 car.
He was a lap down, Larry.
Yeah,
he got it back when Mark Martin
crashed on the backstretch.
Boy, got a heck of a battle for second. But Ricky just gets down under Jeff, but it's so hard to make that pass. Right here, coming off, Jeff's got to give him the line, got to give him some room, or all Ricky can do is back out, and Jeff beats him down the straightaway.
Speaking of back, Earnhardt Jr. is backing up.
Yeah,
Since restart, he's fallen back about 12.
He looks like he did earlier in the day.
Now, just a lap or so ago,
oh my goodness,
Spencer, that is, just in front of Earnhardt.
That could have damaged the nose on that car, and I don't know. Maybe we can get a look at it, Larry, and see if it hurt it.
And there's that hand. We've seen that finger before pointed out the window.
Oh, yeah.
Jarrett trying it underneath Sterling Marlin. 4th place.
I've had a Earnhardt do that to me many times.
He just lost another position to Jeff Green, so he's back to 17th now.
Car looks okay. It's just real loose.
Kenny Schrader goes fast. Schrader not on the lead lap as Jimmie Johnson now leads teammate Jeff Gordon by 2.3 seconds. And they're up there with their mom. Up on the top floor having a great view of the Speedway.
That's a wonderful hotel.
And now that we've shown that, I'll bet we'll never be able to book that room again.
What a beautiful facility, though. I mean, we did our trackside show on Speed Channel on Friday night there. It's just awesome. Reminds you of a big hotel in Las Vegas.
Watch this race right here, guys. That 24 and that 28 are just wearing each other out. Ricky has gotten down under Jeff a dozen times, but he can't close the deal. And it looks to me like Ricky's going to get a little irritated here in a minute.
Of course, Kyle Petty in the 45 car we talked just a few minutes ago, he's 2 laps down because of that green flag stop. And I believe he's actually faster than these guys, but he don't know which way to go behind them.
Now watch right here. Right there. That's what Ricky's been trying to do, is slide up in front of Jeff. And, you know, I'm surprised that Jeff didn't give him that line, let him go on, because Ricky seems to be a little quicker.
All right, now make a note. As Rudd completes the pass, he is 3.5 seconds behind Jimmie Johnson. Let's see if he can close in on the race leader.
Of course, Kurt Busch right there in 97 car, another car that made a green flag stop before that caution. He's up there 2 laps down. We'll look at the Fox tracks now. We'll watch the interval to our leader, Jimmie Johnson. This is on Ricky Rudd. There he sits about 3.8 seconds, and he's closing now that he's finally don't have to race Jeff Gordon now. I mean, he's taking a big chunk out of Jimmie Johnson's lead right here.
And that may be why Jeff Gordon was racing Ricky so hard. He knows he's fast. He's going to go up there and pass his car.
Our boys in the pits tell me that Mark Martin, he was just on pit road. Finally, that thing started losing water pressure. I mean, you just knew it was probably only a matter of time with that much damage to the front end.
4th place, Sterling Marlin, Dale Jarrett. There's Jarrett on the bottom of Marlin. And they've caught Gordon.
See that he got that big run off of turn 2 over there on the outside, and around him he goes. Sterling's car just keeps getting better and better and better.
Now Mike Skinner is right with that group, but he was one of those cars that pitted just before the caution and lost 2 laps in the process.
And that's one thing I can say about that 40 car, Larry, and you know this, week in and week out, that is the most consistent race car on race day that's in the field.
I mean, you don't burn them up on qualifying day, only 1 top 10 start all year long. But I think I saw them struggle here more than anything that they have all year long this week, practice and all.
But they fixed it.
Yes, they have.
Whoa. Whoa now, baby.
Whoa now, baby. The back there, clear, no pressure.
That's what happens when you run that high line. Every now and then you miss it.
There.
She goes up there and she don't stop.
Same song, second verse.
Looking inside. Here behind if you need it. They're all around, nice and smooth.
You know, Bill Elliott's made a good. I mean, he's hanging in there in the top. He's 5th right now. He's been in the top 5, 6 all day long. Started on the outside pole.
Now, was there contact here?
No. Sterling just drove it in there, got the back end hung out a little bit, had to chase it up the track. Good job of saving it. That's what you call loose end.
Yes.
And I don't have to tell you which end either.
Bobby Labonte's had an up and down day, got himself lapped, now has himself back on the lead lap. Matt?
Well, Mike, for the 2nd time today, Bobby Labonte was a fortunate recipient of the caution flag. After gaining a lap back when Mark Martin made contact with Steve Hart, Labonte radioed the crew and said, maybe we finally have some luck going our way. And then when he was able to gain a lap back after the latest caution, he knew it wasn't luck. It was a gift from Jimmie Johnson. He radioed in and told crew chief Jimmy Maycar, tell Jimmie Johnson thanks, and I owe him dinner, a steak dinner. To Dick Berggren.
Mark Martin, who led much of the early laps of this race, right now is behind pit wall. He did lose water pressure. The reason for that, the radiator cap had come off. But they've got lots of problems under the hood of this car, and they're going at it with a bunch of Sawzall, trying to get the radiator pulled back. Mark will be here for a while, but he did tell the crew that the engine is okay, so they're going to try to fix things and get Mark Martin back out on the speedway, albeit many laps down. Mike?
Jack Roush's first weekend back at the track. Matt Kenseth wins the pole. Mark Martin leads 77 laps. It's all kind of been downhill from there.
And Greg Biffle won the race yesterday. That's right. Jack was in victory circle. Jack's probably saying, they're not going to let me come back anymore.
But there you see people continuing to tell Jack Roush, and it is great to see you back at the racetrack, Jack.
Martin behind the wall. Kenseth has had to come from the back, as has Kurt Busch. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett up to 3rd and on the move. Top of your screen. The young guns are down to 1, and right behind Jimmie Johnson, there's a whole lot of experience here.
That's a blazing gun in the front. That's some smoking guns behind him. Do you know what they say about youth and old age?
No, what?
I thought you knew. I'm not going to lead you again like that.
Well,
It's old. What is it?
Old age and treachery.
Okay, there you go.
Youth and exuberance.
There we go.
Okay.
People in our truck tell us that they're hearing that Sterling Marlin is complaining about being loose in, and you cannot be loose in. You carry so much speed getting in the corner here. If you're loose in, it throws the whole corner off.
Well, we saw him loose in. when he was in front of Dale Jarrett there, the back end of that thing jumped out on him. He made his tires mad. I think he had to back up a little bit, let him cool down.
Marlin is now 6th, and I think he's about to be 7th. Robby Gordon has caught him.
Robby Gordon thinks it's a piece of cake after last weekend. 1,100 miles last weekend coming to Dover. It's fun.
Now, you saw Scott a little bit ago, had to have Robby Gordon. Dad, we don't have Robby Gordon. Tell me why a $4 die-cast car has to cost $14 at the racetrack.
We don't have time for me to tell you why, but it's because there's a lot of people involved.
Gosh. Well, he now has Robby Gordon.
He not only has Robby Gordon, but he has Casey Atwood in that 7 car. I know I've talked about this the last few weeks, but Tony Furr moving over to this race car about a month ago from the 25 car where Jerry Nadeau was. I just think it's given Casey Atwood that confidence that he lost at the end of the year when Ray Evernham moved him to this 7 car.
Casey Atwood can drive a race car. We saw that at the end of last year. And all he needs to be is in the right environment with the right kind of leadership. Ray's there for him. I think Casey's feeling really good about himself and that team right now.
And he won a Busch race here a couple of years ago.
And then you have an experienced crew chief with a young driver.
Jeff Burton in that 99 car, you want to talk about some experience. He's had pretty much an up and down day, as we talked about. Went a lap down earlier, got it back when his teammate wrecked on the backstretch, Mark Martin. And here he's up here battling these guys. And this, once again, is a battle for 7th position between these 3 cars.
He's actually caught those guys as they race each other. It's kind of slowed them up a little bit and allowed him to close.
Tony Stewart rounds out the top 10. He's 13 seconds off the lead. He's got Rusty Wallace 1 second behind him, and then Wallace's teammate Ryan Newman.
Tell you what a record this guy has here, though. 6 Dover races, 2 wins, led a lap in all 6 races, average finish 3.3. That's pretty phenomenal.
That's big. Mr. Newman has had, many drivers here have had an up and down day as Bobby Hamilton closes up on Ryan Newman. That's the battle for 12th place.
Yeah, Bobby's working his way back slowly. He's picked off several cars. He's up to Newman now. Yeah, Newman's been all over the place. He's been all over the map, as they say. But,
all weekend.
All weekend.
Yeah, I mean, again, wrecked in qualifying, had to go to a backup car, was involved in a wreck with Steve Park on the backstretch, had sucked in our leader, Mark Martin. Now he's up here battling in 12th position.
4th place is about to get busy. Jeff Gordon has been caught by Bill Elliott and the lap car of Mike Skinner.
I think Bill's liking his car right now, Larry. It's just been getting, it looks like it's just getting better and better for him.
It looks like what he's doing, Darrell, he jumps back to the throttle. He makes a lunge on Jeff Gordon, but it's almost like the car won't quite take it, and he has to pedal just a little bit. Back off that throttle just a little bit.
That's okay, as long as you can get it wide open somewhere.
Let's look at the top 5 spots in terms of experience and in terms of winning in Winston Cup. Jimmie Johnson is our leader. He has 1 win already in his rookie season, but right behind him, there's over 140 wins in those next 4 positions.
That's impressive.
And what? 6 Winston Cup championships as well. Jimmie Johnson continues to lead at Dover. Race, the fans voted him back to 10th place for the final segment, and his miscue on the final pit stop last Sunday night at Lowe's Motor Speedway perhaps kept him from winning the 600.
Yeah, it's been total dominance by that 48 team, but they don't have a whole lot to show for it.
Well, Mike, while Jimmie Johnson is yarding the competition on the racetrack, he's also serving notice that although a rookie, he approaches this game of racing like a veteran. He could have and should have won the Winston. He could have and should have won the 600. He took home an actual dollar amount of $341,925. His take should have been $1.1 million. But a pep talk by Rick Hendrick. He comes to Dover, and he's starting to yard the competition. DW, you've told me many, many times, this game is so mental. A lot of other young rookie drivers would have let the last 2 weeks get to him. Doesn't appear so for Johnson.
Well, he does seem to be awfully composed. for a rookie. And I think he's just loving it. You know, I think there's so much good going on with him and that race team that it's hard to get down.
Darrell, he's proven that momentum doesn't just come from winning. Mark Martin has momentum from winning last week. It comes also from running well enough to win.
Well, and not only that, but just look at what happened there in the 600. That 23 car spun right in front of him. I mean, you know, things aren't going well. He could have plowed right into him like we saw Mark Martin do over here on the back straightaway. That car stopped, all of a sudden slid down the track and by him. It went right on by him, no problem.
You know, guys, it has been a long time since we've seen both the Yates cars, the 28 Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett, the 88 car, up here battling in the top 5. It's been very hit and miss all year long. Here they are running second and third.
Steve Burns has more.
And Mike with Michael McSwain. Michael, what is Ricky saying about the car and what adjustments might you make?
Hey, it's needing a little bit of grip or make some air pressure. The car's doing pretty good. Just a little bit off. Figure it out here.
Go Nick Berggren.
Rudd's teammate is Dale Jarrett. Right now he is running into third position. He had a lousy qualifying lap. 31st he started this race. But NASCAR gives each team the telemetry setup that the pole winner got and what the team did as well. And when the 88 team took a look at what Jarrett had done, they discovered that he was slow coming off the 4th corner. That's the only place he was slow. So they went to work on the 4th corner, and they've got the car dialed in now so that he is fast in every corner of the racetrack. That's the game plan. He won this race in 1998. 7 of his last 11 starts here have been top 5, and they believe they're going to win the race today. Mike?
They're coming on. They are 3.6 seconds behind leader Jimmie Johnson, and as you can see, just a few car lengths behind Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, and Dick, the last time both the Yates cars finished in the top 5 was in September at Richmond last year.
Kurt Busch had problems in qualifying, had to go to a backup car and start in the back, but he's making up laps, and it's one of the quickest cars on the racetrack. He's made up 1 of the 3 laps he was down.
Yeah, you know, if things fall his way, a caution here and a caution there. I mean, this thing is far from over with a car that fast. Don't count him out. He had to make that unscheduled early stop because he cut a right front down, but he's still got a fast hot rod, and that always gives you confidence and encouraging that you might be able to get back in the race.
We're about 2/3 distance. Kurt Busch 2 laps down. Long way to go, however, as he works under Ward Burton, who's been in and out of the garage.
One thing about talking about the 88 was slow off turn 4. Segment times, Larry, they're so critical. You can be really good on one end of the track, really bad on the other, and the driver won't know that. And you can get those segment times from the crew chief and whoever's clocking them for you. Sometimes you can really help your race car.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looked like one of Dale Jarrett's strong points on that last lap right there as he went by his teammate Ricky Rudd was off turn 4. Yeah, you can look slow down a straightaway, but if you go back and clock turn 4, that may be the reason you were slow on the front stretch. You didn't carry any speed through turn 4.
And see, sometimes a driver's not aware of that. He doesn't realize, man, you were good in 1 and 2, and you're good in 3, but you're really bad in 4, and you say, well, I didn't know that. And so you point that out, you work on the car, driver picks it up.
Ricky Rudd mirroring Dale Jarrett's line, as now they've gone from Rudd Jarrett 2nd and 3rd to Jarrett Rudd behind Jimmie Johnson, 3.6 seconds back. Behind them, Bill Elliott in 4th, Jeff Gordon in 5th, Casey Atwood closing in on Gordon from 6th, Sterling Marlin and Robby Gordon battling for 7th. Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace, the top 10.
Those 2 cars, the 28 and 88, they seem to me like when they work together, when they communicate as a team, 2-car team, they get good results.
Now Rudd's going back to running his low line as Jarrett runs the high line.
Yeah, well, he'll try that. He'll say, you know, they'll say the 88's running high, and get up there and try that a lap or 2, and the driver will come back and say, I don't like that. I'm going back to where I was. Down in the pit, you know, they'll clock a car, and if he's running a different line, they'll tell you to try it. You try it a lap or 2, don't like it, you go back to what you had.
But Darrell, the important thing is they're gaining. They have cut Jimmie Johnson's lead now down to 2.6 seconds. So they're closing in. Jimmie Johnson is trying to become only the 7th driver in NASCAR history to win twice within his first 16 starts as a rookie. Leaders are pitting under caution. Jeff Green has crashed at turn 3. Matt?
And Mike, Jimmie Johnson comes in. They're going to make a chassis adjustment. Jimmie was saying the car was just a little too tight on that last run. Big Jim Pollard's going to pack that fuel cell full of fuel to Steve Burns.
4 tires for Ricky Rudd. No adjustments for the 28. The 24 of Jeff Gordon finally getting service. They took a spring rubber out of the left rear. He's gone.
Jeff Green appeared to cut down a right front tire going into turn 3 to bring out this caution.
Dale Jarrett in the 88 group, they win the battle off pit road. Now that a lot of cars are lapped down, Dale Jarrett's pitting way back up pit road. He had an opening in front of him. And we'll watch right here. This is coming down the backstretch at you, Darrell.
Oh, yeah, going into the 3rd turn, you see the tires all coming apart. It's just flying all the pieces right there. And, of course, the driver can do nothing. The thing is just, it's pulling him right into the fence. Pretty good little shot he took going in there. Doesn't look that, boy, I tell you, the leader's lucky he got by. Woo. Jimmie Johnson comes scooting by. There he goes.
Whoa, Steve Grissom.
Grissom was just made it by in the 44.
In tow.
Dick Berggren.
Dale Jarrett's crew did virtually nothing to that car except crack off an incredibly fast pit stop with it, Mike. They just took a half a round out of the left rear tire. That's sort of like sneezing in the engine. Almost no change at all. Jarrett delighted with the performance of his car. Like I've said to you all day long, DJ has a race car that can win this event today.
The 1998 winner. And his crew gets to do a little celebrating after that stop.
You know when it's good. It feels good.
So we're under caution for the 5th time today. Rather, yes, 5th time today for Jeff Green's crash. Of the MBNA Platinum 400, we're closing in on 3/4 distance. 5 laps from now, it's 300 laps. And here's our summary of pit stops under this 5th caution of the day.
There you see Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, both the Yates cars having good road time, which is the entrance to pit road to the exit, including the pit stop. Both of them in the 14s. See Jeff Gordon, a little bit of a slow stop. Jimmie Johnson about 2 seconds off those Yates cars as well.
Got a few cars coming in to top off on fuel. Lead lap cars doing it include Earnhardt Jr.
I was going to ask Jeff. Jeff, there's 104 miles to go. What would DW be doing right now?
I don't know about you, big guy, but if you ain't listening to me and coming on pit road getting you some gas, man, you're going to have a word of prayer after this race.
That's right. We're going to stretch her out, baby.
We got to stretch her out. And the guys who are in the back of the pack, don't be surprised to see them come down pit road and kind of put a little twist into this thing.
Steve Burns is with Jeff Green.
And Jeff Green just out of the care center. Jeff, you all right? Tell us what happened.
Yeah, I'm okay. Just blew right front tire getting into 3 there. Just that set of tires for some reason was a lot tighter, and I just wore it out. I thought I felt it in 1 and 2 here, and dummy me got back on it and went down this back straightaway, you know, wide open. Back got to stop, but it still hit pretty hard. Well, hopefully we'll get it, you know, I don't know if we can gain anything but getting back out. It just had a decent day going, but not what we wanted.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Glad you're okay. About to go green.
Trying to get back on the lead lap is Mike Skinner, who's actually Skinner there is 2 laps down, trying to get 1 back from the race leader, who is Dale Jarrett.
Saw Dale Jarrett bring him to 45 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour, but at the start-finish line, up to 140 miles an hour going off into turn 1. What do you think, guys? We hadn't done it all day. Turn that surround sound up and crank it up.
Ooh. 48, more than 48 and the 28 hung each other coming off of 4 there down the front here. That was getting kind of ugly, guys. That probably sounded pretty good in your surround sound. Dale Jr. up high down in turn 1 and 2 down there. He got pushed up or got loose one. I don't know what happened to him, but he went up the hill. Dale Jr. did.
When that normally happens, it takes you about a half a lap or so to regroup. Plus, you pick up a bunch of debris on your tires because your tires are hot.
Yeah, his car's just kind of wobbling all over the place. What happens is with these tires, you just come out of the pits, probably got the air pressure really, really low in the tires, and the car doesn't drive very good for a lap or two.
I think that hurt Robby Gordon on the restart. He dropped about half a dozen spots, but now he's marching his way back up through as well.
I think that's usually the product of low air pressure. It's a lot of cars just don't feel good for a lap or two when you got the air way down like you have to run it here.
Saw right there, that was coming down the front stretch. Ricky Rudd in the 48 car, and then you have Bill Elliott in the 9 and Jeff Burton in the 99 right behind them.
I've been very impressed with Bill Elliott today. Buddy, he's hung in there all day long. Got a pretty good old car there.
He's in 4th place. Jarrett and Rudd teammates, then Johnson, the rookie, Elliott, and in the top 5, Jeff Burton for the first time today. Let's get out of Jimmie Johnson's pit. Matt.
Well, Mike, Chad Knaus, Jimmie Johnson's crew chief, has 3 wins here when he was part of Jeff Gordon's Rainbow Wars, but he just felt like he could never quite get a handle on this, being his 3rd start as a crew chief. But now we're going to talk about fuel mileage. That caution did not come when you wanted it to, Chad. What's the fuel mileage strategy look like now?
As always, we just can't do it. You know, we don't get real good fuel mileage. The setups that we put underneath the car are pretty aggressive. Jimmy's a pretty aggressive driver. The Hendrick engines are capable of doing it, but unfortunately, we don't let them play the role. We're about 10 laps short, it looks like. You know, I'm sure that there's some guys that can make it. The 88 and the 28, I don't know. Elliott, he's always really good on fuel mileage, so we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully we can get a caution. Everybody will have to pit. We can race for the win.
There is a slight concern that it could possibly be a little bit of damage to the right front on Jimmie Johnson's car. His spotter is going to check it out. They did go 3 wide there right after the restart.
Well, I tell you, Matt, my driver buddy DW has taught me never to say nobody can make it.
Yeah, right.
But with the restart in the race on lap 297, that's 103 laps, 103 miles. That's a long way to go here when most teams were telling me their fuel window was 85 to 90 laps, especially with the restraints they're putting on the fuel cells now. These fuel cells are struggling to hold 22 gallons now.
Side by side for 2nd. More on Ricky Rudd. How about his mileage, Steve?
Well, it's going to be interesting, Mike. I just talked to Norman Koshimizu, and we have caution on the track. We'll finish that story in just a second. For the 6 car, talked to Norman Koshimizu, and he said if Ricky Rudd can save me half a gallon, I can make it 103 laps. So this caution may help.
Norman is the gas man on that number 28. Mark Martin, who led 77 laps here early and looked like a strong bet for a win, came back on track, couldn't go much further, and cycles around slowly to pit road.
Now, what the real gamble will be, you know that if you're close, that these cautions, you're running very slow. It's about 2 to 1 here. 2 caution laps is 1 green lap. But if you don't think you can make it, you need to come to pit road and top off now.
So why didn't anybody come?
Well, because the pit road is not open yet. Well, pit road's not open yet.
It's still
pit road
closed?
is still closed.
Guess what else it's time for that we haven't done today?
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. I thought we might make it through the day without that.
Pep Boys Trivia. One driver has won here 7 times in 5 different makes of cars.
Oh, man.
Who is it and what were they?
Oh, wow.
What, you want us to name the cars?
I'll help you out.
I'd have a better chance of doing that.
It's Richard Petty. He's won 7 races here. What 5 different car makes did he win in?
Well, a Pontiac, a Chevrolet,
A Chrysler.
a Dodge, a Plymouth,
and he won the first ever race here in a Ford.
That's right.
Give it to DW.
How
Yes.
about that?
Well, I mean, he only got so many cars, but there are a lot of drivers.
You know, though, I'm bringing him the book.
If you'd
now.
gotten
He's
to
looking all that stuff up.
If you'd gotten to Imperial and Cadillac, I'd have to have a word with you.
All right, here it is right here. Who will come to pit road, who won't?
Do you remember that Dodge Magnum?
Oh, yes.
My goodness.
And not
like
fondly
Dale
either.
Jarrett in 88, Jimmie Johnson in 48. They're going to come to pit road. Looks like everybody pretty much is going to come with them.
28 stayed out. 28 staying out.
28 did stay out.
Well, this will make life interesting.
Now, like you said, Larry, if the only reason you'd stay out is if you think you can make it.
Especially interesting is the fuel strategy and tire strategy on Dale Jarrett's car. They certainly wanted to come in. They didn't think they had enough fuel to go all the way. They took 4 tires, which will cost them track position. They did discuss taking none. To Matt.
Jimmie Johnson comes in. This is what he needed. He needed this fuel stop. Big Jim Pollard's going to pack that fuel cell through with fuel, and he's down and away to Steve Burns.
Jeff Gordon just got 4 tires. Don't think they made any chassis adjustments, Matt. Now, we heard Ricky Rudd talking to Michael Fatback McSwain. McSwain said, we can make it on gas. Let's stay out. You know what track position means here. So he elected not to come to pit road.
There are 19 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Newman also stayed out, and I believe Elliott Sadler stayed out. So life will be interesting here on this restart.
It really could, and that's the way if you can win the race by staying out, stay out. Even if it is a gamble, I'd rather be out there on the track.
And if I'm real close, I want to see a few more caution laps before we do go back racing.
Good chance of that.
The 3 cars that stayed out, Rudd, Newman, and Sadler, will lead Elliott, Jeff Burton, Atwood, Robby Gordon, and Ricky Craven down for the green flag.
Hey, Jeff, fuel mileage. What was it I always asked you when I leave the pit about getting it full?
No, Darrell, I didn't get it full. I only got 2 cans in it, buddy. you know, you can get it in some. They're coming to the green.
89 laps to go when they get the green flag. This could be the stretch run to the finish. The drivers who did not stop. Will that be the winning strategy, or will those 4 fresh tires and fuel pay off? Let's see.
Kurt Busch, that 97 car, he's up there trying to get that other lap back. He's already made one back up after making that green flag stop.
And we know he's got a fast enough car to do it.
He didn't get a very good restart, though. He's going to fall back to the 3rd position on the racetrack.
There's old Newman up there, guys, running in 2nd place.
After the way his day started, getting tangled up with Steve Park.
I wouldn't give you a plug nickel for even finishing the race. And that's in a backup car.
Next week, split doubleheader, Busch Racing from Nashville Saturday, Winston Cup Racing from Pocono on Sunday. We'll be there.
It's not an oval. It's not a road course. What is it, Darrell?
It's a roval.
It's a little of both.
It's the tri-cornered hat of Winston Cup Racing. Now here is Busch working his way underneath Newman. This is not for position. The 97 of Kurt Busch is 1 lap down. Now he's going to try to run down Ricky Rudd and get that lap back.
And guess what? Ricky Rudd will not he won't put up a fight. He'll let him go. Oh baby. Oh baby. A little nudge.
Now Nadeau is laps down as Jimmie Johnson worked underneath the 10 car.
That's a cool pass. That was a cool pass.
And remember, Dale Jarrett, Jimmie Johnson in the 48, the reason they're back there, they elected to take 4 tires under that last caution. They're sitting back there 9th and 10th right now.
And he can go hard now. He's got fuel, he's got tires, he can make it to the end, so he's got to gas it up and go.
But he has a lot of cars in front of him.
Yeah, but he's a young guy, and he's going to be very impatient.
In recent Winston Cup history, only 4 drivers have gotten 2 wins in their first 16 starts. Dan Gurney in 64, A.J. Foyt in 65, Davey Allison, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Watch this. Got the 88 on the outside. Little nudge right here. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, excuse me, pardon me, coming through.
I'm coming through.
Have to go.
Thank you. Just went around the 88. Here he comes. Now, you got to know that this guy's thinking about last week, the Winston, all those races that he should have, could have won. And today he's got a dominant car. Don't want to let this one slip away.
But Darrell, he's back there. Yeah, he's fast, but he's over 5 seconds behind leader Ricky Rudd, and he's running 24.76s. But once again, we saw this yesterday in the Busch race with Greg Biffle, had older tires. Ricky Rudd, he's up there running 24.53 now. He don't have nobody to contend with. He can run his line.
Just how long can Ricky do that, though? He got, a few laps on his tires. That'll be the difference, I think.
The first of the drivers who stopped is Bill Elliott. Let's go to his pit.
Mike, he stopped back on lap 293 and took on 4 tires. Mike Ford playing the track position game?
Yeah, most definitely. Not only that, our car at the beginning of the race was good on scuffs. We just run a few laps on our tires there. I feel like that'll play into our hands. Track position is definitely important. The first 3 or 4 cars seem to break away all day. We opted just for fuel.
Well, let me tell you, the 48 car is in a hurry. He's got a fast car. We talk about closing rate. We saw him nerf the 10 and move him out of the way. Watch this pass. Got to really be careful doing this, young man.
That's a battle for position right there with Casey Atwood in the 7.
He just turned Casey sideways there, and great job of saving it on Casey's part.
That was 1 lap ago, and it moves Johnson up to 8th. Atwood, meanwhile, fell to 12th.
probably getting a call from the NASCAR people right now about, hey, let's watch that. It's a little too aggressive.
We need to document that Matt Kenseth, after blowing that tire and hitting the wall hard, he's back out on the racetrack along with Mark Martin. So here with only 80 laps to go, we only have 2 cars out. Dick Trickle in the 71, Joe Nemechek in the 25. Meanwhile, Jeff Green in the 30. They're in the garage trying to repair their car.
Ricky Rudd is going to see a mirror full of Kurt Busch pretty soon as Busch is trying to get back on the lead lap. Rudd is our race leader. He's 2.2 seconds ahead of Ryan Newman, but the car closing fast behind him is sophomore Kurt Busch. And there is the discussion. Chad Knaus, I'm sure, listening intently to the NASCAR official about Jimmie Johnson muscling his way to the front. Ricky Rudd, our leader. Ryan Newman, 2.5 seconds back. Dover International Speedway, Ricky Rudd 2.8 seconds out in front of Ryan Newman. Bill Elliott another 0.7 of a second back. Jeff Burton, who spent most of the day a lap down, finds himself now in 4th ahead of Elliott Sadler. Robby Gordon, Jimmie Johnson trying to fight his way back up through. He is 7th. Dale Jarrett, Ricky Craven, Sterling Marlin, the top 10.
I tell you, the boy that just continues to have a great day. He's in 6th position. Robby Gordon, that 31 car. Now he has a mirror full of Jimmie Johnson in the 48 car, but what a day for this group right here. Again, he'll have a new team, a new crew chief start next week at Pocono. Basically, Kevin Harvick, the 29's entire team, including crew chief Kevin Hamlin.
But look at that 48 car, how just right through the center of the corner, back in the gas, and under him he goes.
Larry, what I find most interesting about that swap
5 more spots up there.
Is they're not changing just crews, they're changing all the cars too.
Changing everything. Each crew chief wanted to keep their own set of cars.
And I said this to Larry, and I just kind of kidding, but it's a fact. They have lost so many race cars since Talladega that I don't think it's going to make all that. They're building new cars every day up there.
You see on the Fox tracks now here, we're going to look at the intervals here, about 6.25 seconds. He has a fast car. He's catching Elliott Sadler here in the 21 car, and that just cost him so much time. He just can't get in clean racetrack.
Well, that interval is to the race leader,
Ricky Rudd.
Yep, Jimmie Johnson now up to 6th. He has 70 laps left to go.
And this will be the first clean lap he has had in just a while. Ricky Rudd ran 25.02. Okay, there you go. Jimmie Johnson that time ran 24.80. That's 2/10 quicker once he had a clean racetrack.
Bill Elliott has caught Ryan Newman for 2nd place.
It's good. Bill, again, I just got to say, I've been impressed with Bill's run today. This is as good as I've seen Bill run since he won at Homestead last year. But by the same token, I got to give a little credit to that 12 car too, because that guy's been in all kind of trouble today, and there he is up there holding off Bill Elliott for 2nd place.
Dick Berggren.
And the trouble didn't just start today either. Ryan Newman crashed on his qualifying run, so this is a backup car that he started dead last in the field with. Just a moment ago, I asked Matt Borland, his crew chief, whether he had enough fuel to go all the way. The 12 car did not stop on that last caution flag. Borland looked at me and simply shrugged his shoulders. They don't know. Mike?
Outcome will be as interesting to them as it will be to us.
Well, I know you hate to give up track position, but if you get a caution, you have an opportunity to top off, and you don't know you can make it, you don't make it, shame on you.
Oh, yeah, and I agree with that. And the thing about it is, the 48 car here comes up to 4th place. He knows he can make it no matter what happens. If there was a caution now, he could stay out. And the other guys would be faced with the issue of, do I need to pit or not?
Right.
So he's in the catbird seat if he can chase down to 28.
To get back on the lead lap, Kurt Busch makes it around Ricky Rudd, but now he needs a caution to get back in contention.
And it's just another young guy that's fought his way back. I mean, from 2 laps down, and here he is back in the race, same way as Newman.
And how he got 2 laps down was he made a green flag stop a few laps before a caution came out and put him 2 laps down. Now he's made them both up. Absolutely, he needs a caution. He'd become a contender.
He's in 19th place.
How's our old buddy Rusty Wallace doing today?
Daryl, he's kind of flirted with the top 10. Right now he's just outside it. He's in 12th place. But he has run up in the top 10.
Now, Larry and I, you know, we watched him practice, and he had one of the fastest practice speeds. We thought Rusty might have a really good day today. We even thought maybe he could win.
And I mean, Dover has been his place. He's a track record holder here. 3 wins, 4 poles. But just hard to believe that he's looking for his first top 5 in 21 races, going all the way back to Kansas City last September.
But what do we know about Dover, Larry? Let's don't count anybody out yet.
Absolutely not. Count nobody in, count nobody out.
Proof of that, in 1975, Richard Petty made up a 6-lap deficit to nose out Dick Brooks for the win here. Question, with 58 laps to go, is 4-time Dover winner Ricky Rudd feeling fuelish?
Here's the problem. He's got to conserve fuel to win the race because it's going to be real borderline. The bad news, that's bad news. Here's some more. Here's the worst news. The 48's going to catch you anyway. If you don't go hard, the 48's going to catch you. So if you slow down to save fuel, you're going to lose the race anyway, right, Jeff?
Exactly right, Darrell. But the guy you need to worry about right now is old Bill Elliott right there. Bill Elliott is running a very consistent pace. I believe he's okay on fuel. And he may just sneak up there and steal this bad boy.
I don't think he can hold the 48 off. 48's closing on him. I think the 48's coming and it'll get him here pretty quickly.
Elliott is 2.6 seconds back. Jimmie Johnson in 4th is 4.4 seconds back of Ricky Rudd.
See, watch this car go through the center of the corner right here. Watch it. It just accelerates so well right up in front of that 12 car. It doesn't do that slide. He's driving it off that corner. It doesn't slide up in front of the car on the outside. He just drives up in front of the car on the outside. That's hard to do here.
Inside. Clear low.
Even battling Ryan Newman side by side for 4th, Jimmie Johnson picked up 2/10 that lap on Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, he's definitely reeling Ricky in. Now he's down to 4.3 seconds behind him. And just remember now, Jimmie Johnson pitted on lap 307, 4 tires full of fuel. We know he can go the distance.
Yeah, the other thing is his tires. I mean, Jimmy's going to have a little bit better tires as well. So Rudd is sitting there. He's kind of put himself in a box. He can't go as hard as he needs to. He'll run out of fuel. His tires are a little older than Jimmie Johnson, and Jimmie Johnson is coming.
Steve Burns is in the leader's pit.
Mike, we've been listening to Michael McSwain talk to Ricky Rudd, and they're saying, be easy on that throttle. I went back to Norman Koshimizu, the gas man, and said, can you make it? He just kind of shrugged his shoulders and laughed, so it's going to be close.
And just to document where they're at, there's Norman Koshimizu. He's been gassing that car for a number of years. He's been around for a long time. Goes back to some of the Dygard days.
He was racing when I started.
But Ricky Rudd pitted on lap 292. That's 108 laps or miles to go. A lot of teams told me their fuel window was around 90 laps. Now, we've ran 10 cautions since Ricky was on pit road. Using the 2-to-1 ratio, that's like buying him 5 laps. That's still over 100 miles that he's going to need to run.
He would not stay out there if he didn't think he could make it. We know that. He had an opportunity to top the car up. So they would not have stayed if they didn't think they could make it.
Jeff Gordon underneath Elliott Sadler. This is for 8th place.
Clear, all clear.
These cars are 9.5 seconds behind Ricky Rudd.
And Darrell, how you save fuel here is you roll out of the throttle a little early, let the car roll a little longer, pick it up a little later. That's easy to do when you're by yourself. Very hard to do when you're working a lot of lap traffic, as Ricky Rudd's doing right now.
Have you ever tested to find out just how much that saves?
Oh, I have. Man, listen, saving fuel is a science. It doesn't just happen. It has to happen on Saturday afternoon going into the race. Squirters in the carburetor. Throttle linkage. So many things go into getting good fuel mileage. It's not about having a big gas tank. It's not about how that guy drives the car so much as it is the tuner on the engine.
Just look at our Fox tracks right here. Now, this is the interval to Ricky Rudd, our leader in the 28 car, 2.8 seconds. This is coming down the front stretch here. You can see it shrinking just a little bit. Not a lot, but look right here. Jimmie Johnson in the 48, he's having to work lap traffic. But when he's out in clean racetrack, he chops a bunch off that about 1/10 or 2 a lap.
Now, Mike, it is all those things combined. But that tuner makes the biggest difference. He's the guy they turn to and say, can we make it? Not the crew chief.
See right there, Jimmie Johnson, one more car, he'll be in clear racetrack. Ricky Rudd starting to catch a big pack of cars.
And that car is the 2nd place car, Bill Elliott.
I don't think Bill will put up much of a fight. He knows Jimmy's faster than he is. He's going to pull down and let him go right on by. Bill's trying to save fuel as well. He can't gamble on racing him.
2nd and 3rd right here. 2.5 seconds behind leader Ricky Rudd with 47 laps to go. It's going to be close on fuel here at Dover. 3 laps to go. Ricky Rudd is trying to win it on strategy. Jimmie Johnson is trying to win it by whipping the fastest car here into a froth. Will Rudd have enough fuel to make it? We know Johnson does.
I mean, that's a great call on the 28's car part. If they finish the race, don't run out of fuel. The worst they can probably do is run second, because Johnson has closed down on him in a big hurry. But nonetheless, Jimmie Johnson's in the catbird seat.
I mean, right now they both were in Cleveland racetrack. Jimmie Johnson still ran 2/10 of laps quicker.
What they got to do with Jimmie Johnson is now he's caught Rudd. I mean, for all practical purposes, calm down now, take a deep breath, and don't make any mistakes.
Bill Elliott is still 2.5 seconds behind Rudd, as he was when we went to break. But Elliott now the third-place car. Jimmie Johnson is within 1 second of the race leader.
For the Jeff Green fans, he's back in the race after that hard hit while ago after blowing a tire. He's 68 laps down, so he's back out there trying to make some circles.
Matt.
Well, Mike, DW is exactly right. 2 laps ago, Chad Knaus came on the radio and told Jimmie Johnson, you can see him through the windshield. Now just pace yourself. Just find a nice rhythm and pace and go after him.
Yeah, now that the gap has closed, he's there. He's got a better race car. You know, get up there, get around him, but also use some good common sense now. Use good judgment.
Jimmie Johnson has led the most laps today, and he's in position to take over second in the Winston Cup standings.
Go, bud, 39 laps.
There's our point leader, Sterling Marlin. Bobby Hamilton is going to inhale Marlin. That's for 11th place.
And even on, you know, Sterling Marlin is kind of neat the way he did. Even though he doesn't have the best car out there today, where is he? He's probably going to end up in it.
Here's the battle for the lead. It really won't be much of a battle, I don't think. I'm sure Ricky will fight him hard.
I'm just impressed with the way that 48 car will come up off the bottom of the corner, never wobble, drive right off the corner, straight as an arrow, and away he goes.
We almost missed it because he was a second back and caught him like that.
I think Ricky's really having to. I think he'll fall in behind him now and try to save as much fuel as he can, but keep him in sight.
Right there's where he's so strong, Darrell. You talked about it. He gets up off that corner on that straightaway.
See, this is where the old veteran, if he is probably as smart as I think Ricky Rudd is, he'll worry him to death. He'll just kind of sit there and worry him. You know, hey, I'm back here, old buddy. I'll let you catch me, but guess what? I ain't going away.
And Dick Berggren tells us that our winner from September, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he had to come to pit road. He was overheating, not having a very good day. He's back out there 4 laps down in 31st.
Now, Johnson will run away from Rudd, but Ricky may be able to get right back to him in traffic.
I don't know the way that 48 car is running. He better not let him get too far away. Right. I was anticipating Rudd would try to hang with him.
Ryan Newman, Dale Jarrett. This is 5th place.
Gets that run up off the outside there. Gets a good straightaway speed. Makes the pass.
Just remember, a lot like Jimmie Johnson, though, Dale Jarrett in 88, he has a little fresher tires than these guys. Like Jimmie Johnson, he elected to get 4 tires under that last caution.
And you see, Newman doesn't give up. He drives it right back under him. That's the thing about these young drivers. They're relentless. But they don't know how to pace themselves. They got no
fresh
pace.
Tires, this is about 7 seconds behind our leader right now.
Jeff Burton, who's the best of the Roush cars as this race wears on into its final 10%. They're in 4th place.
But
and
you know,
Hamilton back after Sterling.
I can't help but have a little bit of a knot in my stomach for Jimmie Johnson. His car is so good, like we saw last week. He should have won the race last week. And I just want him to slow down a little bit and pace himself, because he's still blowing back hard.
Out, Kenny Schrader's number 36 has melted going off into turn 1.
No, that's the track bar. It broke the track bar, and the rear end housing's flopping around back there, rubbing the tires up in the fender wells.
That's what holds the rear end centered in the car.
The track bar, you know.
Track bar melted.
The place where we go after the race is over.
Pit road entrance, maybe.
So, among the lead lap cars, and there are now 18 of them, we have 28 laps to go. Who will stop and who will not?
I think everybody will. I mean, you have 70 laps on your tires. You're going to have about 20 to 25 laps to go. I think you have to get 4 fresh tires. But how about Kurt Busch? He finally makes another lap up. Now, he's going to be 17th, depending on how things unfold after the pit stops. Now, we won't see him come to pit road yet because pit road is closed.
Remember what Jeff Green did earlier in the day. Came in the pits 20th, came out 5th, and then settled back to about 9th spot. He didn't lose all that much by not taking on those 4 tires.
Well, we saw the Busch Series, Greg Biffle yesterday. He stayed out on tires with about these same laps on them and drove away from the field. So I mean, we know that the 48 can make it on fuel. We're not sure about the rest of them.
I think one of these last 6 or 7 cars could stay out and gain from it. We'll see.
Now, Jeff, what one of the guys at the back may do, maybe try 2 tires. I think you have to at least have 2, but I think you need 4.
Larry, you got to be, one thing you got to pay attention to right now coming out pit road, especially if you're the 28 and the 97 or the 24. These guys are still pitted real close together, and with Kurt Busch being at the tail end of this pack, there still may be some problems as far as getting in and out of the pit, getting blocked in, and or damages. So you got to be careful about pit road once again.
Yeah, and of course, Dale Jarrett, he's going to come in 4th, and those guys have had great stops all day. Now, this happened just a few laps ago.
Just as they were coming around for the caution, contact. Kurt Busch and Casey Atwood. Yeah. Atwood's felt that before.
Yeah, Jimmie Johnson did that to him earlier. He's got that move down pat.
Busch got the spot. They are the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Pit road is still closed because they're putting down some speedy drive from Ken Schrader.
Mike, this could also be a problem if you come down pit road. It could mess you up, make you slide through your pits if there's oil on pit road. So these crew chiefs are really got to be on their game and talking to their drivers, trying to make the right call as far as pit road's concerned.
Excuse me, I'm corrected. It wasn't because of oil. It was because the wrecker is going to have to push Schrader's car off of pit road, and it was in the way of some cars that would have made their stops.
Here's when you hate to be the leader. If Jimmie Johnson stays out, everybody goes in. If Jimmie Johnson goes in, everybody stays out.
This is one of those times when I'm glad I became a broadcaster.
Now, if I'm Jimmie Johnson, I'm sure I watched that Busch race yesterday and saw Greg Biffle not stop late in the race and go on to win it.
I got to think they're going to stay out. I think the 48 will stay out. I'm not sure about the rest of them.
Well, the 28's questionable on fuel. We think he'll be in.
Yeah, well, that he probably can make it. Now, we had caution laps before, had this run here. Now we got caution laps again, so maybe he can make it on fuel now.
Stay out, man. Let's do it. I agree. Step 4, let's do it.
I agree.
Give Greg Biffle an attaboy on that one, maybe.
Well, if they're making a decision, they have to make it now because pit road is open. So we'll see who comes to pit road. We'll see who stay out. Ricky Rudd in the 28 car. He's coming to pit road. Bill Elliott in the 9.
Larry, that is the problem with not pitting the last time. If a caution fell this time of the race, but you see what they did. They left him sitting a duck out there.
Dick Berggren, Jimmie Johnson's a lonely man. Looks like the only leader that didn't pit.
And Todd Parrott made the call on Dale Jarrett. He said, come on, tires. They're going to put 4 tires on it. No adjustment to the chassis. The only adjustment is air pressure. They wanted as simple a pit stop as possible. To Matt.
Jimmie Johnson stayed out because he wanted clean air. The 88 is out. Bill Elliott, they're going to go up 1 pound on both right side tires. A 4-tire change, no fuel for Elliott. To Steve Burns.
4 tires. This is what they needed, Matt. 4 tires. They have any shot at all to win. No chassis adjustments, just air pressure on the 28. He gets around the 97 and back onto the racetrack.
Tony Stewart stalled. They have to push him out of his pit. And Jimmie Johnson is the only driver on the lead lap who did not stop.
Just sitting duck, baby. I'm telling you, when you're leading a race like that right there, if you stay out, they all pit.
You said he should stay out.
Well, I know he did. He did the right thing. I'm with him.
Right? Yeah.
The that just shows you what happened. He may have some friends though in Jeff Burton and 55 car Bobby Hamilton because it looks like they maybe only took 2 tires.
Darrell, that Jimmie Johnson's team might have been listening to his discussion on strategy, but the leader's in a tough spot in this case, Darrell.
Oh, listen, if I'm Jimmie Johnson, I'm going to stay out. But you know what I know by that? Everybody behind me is going to pit. The leader is a sitting duck, but I like that duck.
All right. Now, the cars behind him, the 99 car, he only changed 2 tires. Bobby Hamilton, the 55 behind him, gas only. This is Mark Martin in the 6 car. He's got his hood up.
And not much to hold it down.
Not intentionally either. It's just making a bad day worse.
Can Jimmie Johnson hold off Jeff Burton, Bobby Hamilton, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, and the rest of this field?
Just like we said before we had this situation here, Mike, at Dover, you never know. You never know who's going to win or what's going to happen.
Well, shades of Greg Biffle yesterday. Here's Johnson scooting out from the field.
As soon as he gets a little, I think these tires on concrete, the concrete seems to be a little bit more forgiving on the tires than they are on asphalt.
Just remember, Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, 4 fresh tires, but he has those lap cars up there to contend with as well.
You see that 22 up there in front of you.
22 laps to go. Rudd moving on the outside. Gaining a little ground, but he's got Hamilton and Burton ahead, the second and third place cars. Bobby Hamilton got gas only on his stop.
Well, yesterday we saw in a 200-mile race, we saw no tires win the race. We'll see how it goes today.
Kurt Busch back on the lead lap, but he's in 16th.
Rudd's around the 55 car into third place.
And 1.2 seconds behind Johnson, who is waiting on nobody.
No, and you know, he's not. He's getting away a little bit, but not like I thought he would.
And of course, with 19 laps to go after a restart, he shouldn't have to contend with any lap cars. He can kind of run the line he wants to, the line his car wants to run.
Let's go to his pit and Matt.
Well, Jimmie Johnson wanted that clean air as Chad Canals talks to Jimmy. Well, how difficult the decision was it, Chad, to stay out for that clean air and not get fresh tires?
It was pretty difficult, you know, but we watched Biffle stay out yesterday. Tires really didn't do a whole lot for him. We took an opportunity in happy hour yesterday to put on new tires just to see how much it affected the car. It really didn't help us that much. So, you know, a little bit of lap traffic, a little bit of luck. Maybe we can pull this thing off. Jimmy's done a tremendous job. You know, these Lowe's employee owners, boy, they must be really happy with what this kid's doing for us.
He certainly must. 3 dominating weeks behind the wheel of that 48 car. Steve Burns.
Well, Matt, Ricky Rudd just radioed Michael McSwain and said, I feel like I have a loose wheel. McSwain said, just drive it as long as you can. 22 laps to go. Says, I feel like I have a loose wheel.
Last lap times were pretty even, about a tenth apart, as Rudd tries to run down Jimmie Johnson.
I mean, he drove by Jeff Burton and Bobby Hamilton in the 55. He's not really pulling away from Jeff Burton now. And that time he lost a half a second to Jimmie Johnson. Something's definitely not right on that race car.
Listen, if you got something like you think you got a loose wheel, buddy, it don't get any better here. And Rudd's slowing down, guys. I think he's going to come to pit road. He's pulled down, and here goes the 99.
Rudd staying out.
No, he stayed out, but man, he pulled down. He's still pulling down. I think he's really trying to figure out just exactly what's wrong with that car.
And what's that condition here, Darrell, where on the concrete you feel like maybe you have a loose wheel or a tire down?
Oh, this place will drive you crazy. The expansion joints in the concrete, it can give you so many things that you just don't know how to analyze them.
Rudd's going to give up second place to Jeff Burton. Here's Steve.
Mike, Ricky thinks it's the right rear. He just hollered loose, loose, loose. He thinks it's the right rear tire.
Right now, he's losing about a half to 3/4 of a second a lap. Jimmie Johnson is. Jimmie Johnson's pulled out to almost a 2.5 second lead over Jeff Burton with about 13 laps to go next time.
And side by side, Hamilton with Elliott. Now they sweep around the outside of Rudd.
What about Bobby Hamilton, guys? I mean, is he having a banner day for that team? Great for him. Sitting there in 4th place, 3rd place.
And he's sitting out there with more laps on his tires than about anybody, because on that last stop, he elected to take gas only.
And Rudd is now sliding back through the entire lead lap.
You know why? He's run out of gas today, and he ain't run out of tires yet.
Yeah, Ricky Rudd's going to be on pit road this time by.
Oh, no.
Elliott battling side by side with Hamilton. This is 3rd place as Rudd comes to the pit lane, side by side for 3rd.
35 miles an hour, and this pit road goes from turn 4 to turn 1.
Michael McSwain getting his crew ready to go into action.
The problem you have is unless he can really pinpoint it, they're going to have to put 4 tires on it. Unless Ricky can really be sure where it is.
That 3rd place battle was decided in favor of Bill Elliott. Here's Steve.
Well, DW, they think it was the right rear, but they're going to go ahead and put 4 tires on. Tough race for Ricky Rudd. Had a great race car all day long. 4 tires for Rudd.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, you've already handed the race over. You might as well not take a chance and get 4 tires.
Exactly. Another reason why I like staying out. Got good tires on the car, and they're all tight.
That's it.
Rudd was looking for his 5th Dover win as the leaders flash by.
9
Jarrett
laps
now
to go next time.
up there battling with Hamilton.
And Dale Jarrett in 88, he got 4 fresh tires that last time. That's the reason he's much better than Bobby Hamilton right here.
Ryan Newman also went past Hamilton for 4th place. So it's Johnson, Burton, Elliott, Newman, and Jarrett the top 5. Hamilton, the two Gordons, Jeff and Robby, Craven and Sadler.
Craven's having, man, after that trouble he had early on, Larry, TIDE has fought its way back up into the top 10.
Under 10 laps to go, down to the second place cars, Pitts and Dick.
With Frank Stoddard, he is crew chief for Jeff Burton. Can you guys close in the last 10 laps and win this thing?
It doesn't look like they're getting for the 48. The 9 car is going to come on 4 tires and probably beat us. But we're going to hopefully get a top 5 finish, and that's what the Sitco team needs right now. It's been a really good run all day for us, and we just gambled on the 2 tires. It's not going to pay off.
Well, it looks good for top 5, Mike, but not so good for a win.
Well, Jeff Burton qualified 33rd, got a lap down early. Probably as surprised as anybody to find himself in the top 5, but they just kept after it. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd's team frustrated.
I mean, you get yourself in position, and here with about less than 30 laps to go, I've been there many a time, Darrell.
Yeah, and particularly the way this team has struggled this year, as early on they've had some good runs, and Ricky's done a great job, and just let one get away today.
With that stop, he went from 2nd to 19th. As Jeff Gordon battles Bobby Hamilton, this is for 6th.
Bobby should have probably taken a couple of tires on there that last time, Larry, because he's really fading here in the stretch.
Yeah, he's going to have over 100 miles on his tires.
But Darrell, I think it might have been the right call, because as deep in the lead lap as he was, we're going to run out of laps before he falls back to that position. So he's going to end up with an improvement, not what he'd like to see.
Well, they're lined up behind him there pretty good. If they ever start going by, I'm afraid he'll get shoved up out of line, and they'll all get by him. But I tell you, another guy we need to talk about is Jerry Labonte. He's not having a real banner day, you might say, but he's up there in 14th place, and that's a great run for him.
He's gnawing on Sterling's bumper for 13th.
All right, Steve Byrne tells me that Ricky Rudd, the 28, did have one loose wheel. The wheel was loose.
Let me just tell you something. We're looking at this race as if it's over. Bill Elliott is closing up on that 48 car.
It's now down to a 2nd.
Bill Elliott all of a sudden got by the 99, and when he did, buddy, he took off.
He did. 3.5 laps to go. Elliott sails it off into turn 3.
Man, I tell you, he looks to me like he's a lot faster. Jimmie Johnson better not soft pedal it too much here.
Let's watch our Fox track here now. The interval, 0.8 of a second right here. We'll see if it shrinks any. Down to 8.6, 8.5. This is coming off turn 2, down to 8.3. He's definitely catching, but will he have enough time?
Rudd's right there in front of Jimmie Johnson, and that dirty air could be just what Bill Elliott needs.
Kurt Busch battling Tony Stewart. That is back at 11th place. But it's all on the lead with 2 laps to go. Bill Elliott trying to give Dodge its first win at Dover since 1975. That was the day Richard Petty made up 6 laps to win it.
I don't think it, as long as Ricky Rudd keeps going and doesn't hold Jimmie Johnson up, I don't think Bill can do it.
Elliott getting so close as they come off turn 4.
It sure is a great run for Bill. I'm proud of old Bill. He's just hung in there all day long. What a great run.
And Darrell, he's driving that thing down in the corner. White flag's out this time.
He ain't leaving anything on the table, I can tell you that. Here he comes up off of turn 2, and he's still closing.
Watch him driving down here into turn 3 right here.
Oh, up on the outside, he's going to give it that high. He's going to give it that high line. Last-ditch effort here.
Bill Elliott closes, but Jimmie Johnson gains the 2nd victory of his rookie year.
We have a battle between Bobby Hamilton and Robby Gordon.
I don't think Bobby Hamilton's going to like that very much.
Gordon got Hamilton for 8th at the line.